He says the scam artist told the grieving widow that she would have to purchase an insurance policy to cover her while the burial took place. Her initial attempt to pay on Zelle was rejected due to fraud detection. She then paid through PayPal. Multiple law enforcement authorities are now investigating. Your weather for today: sunny and cool, highs around 63. It's going to be windy. Some of those winds could be gusting up to 30 miles an hour. WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards will have Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast. That'll come your way at 12:05. U.S. Senator Raphael Warnock rolling out legislation aimed at making housing more affordable. It's a story that's all new here at noon.
The bills would address different aspects of the market, from providing grants to some first-time, first-generation home buyers to giving credits to Americans who make less than $100,000 and spend 30% of their income on rent.
Housing is not a partisan issue. It's an American issue. It's something we need to solve, and it is something that we can solve if we center the people, and that's what this package of bills is all about.
According to Zillow, the median sale price of a home in Metro Atlanta is $385,000. Jonathan O'Brien, 95.5 WSB.
Now to Washington, Senate Democrats are calling on the Trump administration to restore funding for a program designed to help farmers supply fresh food to food banks. This as legal fights are underway on funding cuts that the administration has made. Senator Richard Blumenthal.
People went hungry during COVID. Now, Donald Trump and Elon Musk threaten to make America hungry again.
The U.S. Agriculture Department ended 2 pandemic-era programs that provided more than $1 billion for schools and food banks to purchase food from local farmers and producers. DeKalb County SWAT officers helping nab a murder suspect out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. The 40-year-old man, Jason Bowen, was found by U.S. Marshals at a Flat Shoals Road motel. DeKalb's SWAT team served the arrest warrant. They arrested him and his girlfriend, Trayshawn Hick. Inside the hotel room, investigators found weapons and drugs. Both were taken to the DeKalb County Jail and then turned over to U.S. Marshals. All right, as things start to warm up and you're out in the yard, beware. Snake season is here. This is when snakes become more active as they emerge from hibernation, looking for food, mates, and suitable habitats. Georgia is home to 6 species of venomous snakes, including the copperhead, cottonmouth, eastern diamondback rattlesnake, and the eastern coral snake. Hundreds of people are bitten by venomous snakes each year here in our state. In fact, Georgia Poison Control getting hundreds of calls every year about snake bites. A judge has ruled that Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis has to pay up after violating Georgia's Open Records Act.
Willis's office now has 30 days to pay attorney's fees of just over $54,000 to defense attorney Ashley Merchant after Superior Court Judge Rachel Krause rules the DA's office was openly hostile to Merchant by failing to turn over records. In addition to the money, Willis must also turn over all responsive materials in the case. Merchant was looking for information about workers' confidentiality agreements and a list of attorneys hired by Willis. Merchant says she's thrilled by the ruling. Judd Hickenbotham, 95.5 WSB.
President Trump today overseeing his first Kennedy Center board meeting. White House correspondent Weijia Jiang has more.
He has made clear that he has a new vision for the Kennedy Center, which is, world renowned for its arts and performing arts here.
And President Trump cited drag shows held at the Kennedy Center as one of the reasons for taking command of the center, vowing to stop such performances. You might be keeping a close eye on your 401k after last week's Wall Street numbers, but the pain might not be over just yet.
The latest retail sales numbers reflect what WSB consumer expert Clark Howard is noticing.
Consumers are already moving from do to don't.
Clark says all the talk about tariffs is undermining confidence in the economy and the markets, but it's not a reason to make knee-jerk reactions with your investments.
But I recommend if you're under age 55, you just take a chill pill.
He says the disruptions are temporary, but Clark does say if you're spending less right now, it's a good time to use that extra cash to pay off high-interest debt. Jennifer Perry, 95.5 WSB.
All right, let's take a look at your money. The Dow right now is up 192 at 41,681. So the Dow's up almost 0.5%. NASDAQ's down almost 0.5%. And the S&P is in positive territory. It's time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Just had a stall that was knocking out the center lane downtown, 75-85 northbound, just past I-20. Police were able to escort that to the right shoulder, but that's why you're seeing the delays from University Avenue. Those will start to improve. Southbound, you got that left lane construction on the 400 southbound ramp to I-85 southbound coming out of Buckhead into Midtown. And in DeKalb, left lane construction continues on the I-20 eastbound collector distributor ramp coming off at 285 over towards Wesley Chapel. In the same area, you have the right lane of the through lanes blocked, but the slowest part's going to be 285 east and north, leaving Flat Shoals, trying to get onto I-20 east there in DeKalb. DeKalb. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Time now for Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast, sponsored by Shoemate, the official plumber of Atlanta Homes.
Sunny skies and breezy conditions today. High 63, wind gusts as high as 30 miles per hour. That wind pulling in that chilly air from up north, so temperatures tonight will drop into the mid-30s to low 40s. Some areas of frost possible for tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, sunshine, a little warmer, high 72. Wednesday, partly cloudy, morning low 47, afternoon high 74. A cold front moving in on Thursday. It'll usher in rain showers for the morning hours. Sunshine, but another blast of chilly air for Thursday afternoon, high 55. Temperatures near freezing on Friday morning. Sunshine through the afternoon, high 66.
We'll have more news at 12:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Greetings, conversationalists across America. It's Eric Erickson here. Delighted to have you with me. Many of you signing on for the first time right now. Welcome. The phone number, 877-973-7425. If you want to find out the podcast, the show notes, all the social media interactions, text the word Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777. Thanks for being with me. We got to begin with the immigration story and the deportations. Over the weekend, in New York City, in Manhattan, according to a viral news report in New York City that did not get a lot of attention but has subsequently been confirmed, a man walking with his girlfriend was set on fire by a migrant. Didn't get a lot of news coverage in it. The story is now confirmed. It went viral on an account in New York City, and the police subsequently confirmed that, yes, a migrant burned someone else in New York City. This is the price New Yorkers must pay for Democrats with immigration. Immigration itself now not the number one or number two issue in the United States. Why? Because Donald Trump, very effective in dealing with immigration. You know another concern that is starting to fade away from people? Eggs. Egg prices have gone from $6.55 a dozen on January 21st, the day after Trump got inaugurated, to $3.45 now, a 47.3% decrease in price. Donald Trump is fixing problems people care about. And that gets me to the judge's order on immigration. This is a difficult thing for the Democrats, and they're hiding behind a federal judge who in Washington, D.C., by the way, this is one of the former FISA court judges who authorized all the investigations into Trump and the Russians. He's a Democratic-appointed judge who ordered the return of deported gangbangers. And, of course, the Democrats and the ACLU are on the side of this, but notice the pattern here. Here's what happened. Donald Trump secretly signed an order deporting some of these gang members back to Venezuela, except they're going to send them to El Salvador instead. Drop them off in El Salvador. The president, they're happy to round them up and put them in prison in El Salvador. They're criminal gangbangers from Venezuela. So they kept it very quiet within the Trump administration, but as the flights were starting to roll out, some liberal activists who monitors deportation flights saw unscheduled, unannounced deportation flights and rushed to the ACLU, which in turn rushed to federal court and got a Democratic judge to order a return of the flights. Now, here's what we know. The flight was already outside U.S. airspace, was actually above the Yucatan Peninsula, almost to El Salvador, when word came that the judge had ordered a recall of the flight, and the Trump administration just didn't send word for the plane to turn around. They don't want to say they ignored the judge's order, but they ignored the judge's order. Some of them are willing to say within the White House that, yes, they decided to ignore the order. Others are saying, there was confusion. It was already almost El Salvador. It was outside of American airspace. We really couldn't order it to turn around at that point. They want this fight. Here's why they want the fight. Because this is a necessary fight to have. Joe Biden overwhelmed the southern border. Joe Biden turned a blind eye to a flood of illegal immigrants coming into this country, thousands and thousands, tens of thousands at a time. The Trump administration, 8 weeks on the job, has got the border crossings down to 100 to 200 a day, from upwards of 10,000 a day. This is a politically created crisis, and the Democrats are running to Democrat-appointed judges to undermine the President of the United States. Now, to be fair and intellectually honest, when Democrats are in charge, Republicans run to courts controlled by conservatives. When Republicans are in charge, Democrats run to Democrat-appointed district judges. The problem here is this universal idea now among judges that they can issue nationwide injunctions. I have intellectually, honestly, opposed it when conservatives do it. I oppose it when progressives do it. But there is already Supreme Court precedent in this case that once someone has been ordered deported by the United States government, judges can't turn around and undermine the deportation order until that person goes to where they are and they can apply and come back. The judge has overstretched his hand. So Trump wants this fight, and the Democrats are going to give him the fight. Good. The Democrats are going to take Donald Trump to court over this, and Donald Trump is probably going to win in the United States Supreme Court, and probably win on multiple aspects of this. One, Donald Trump is probably going to win in the Supreme Court on the issue of nationwide injunctions. But two, Donald Trump is probably going to win on the deportation fight, too. The White House is denying that it defied the judge's order. They have to deny that they defied the order because it would put them in legal hot water with the U.S. Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is the third branch of government, whether you like it or not. The judiciary is, and the branches of government aren't supposed to defy each other. But also, you do have to understand that all three branches of government are required to assess the constitutionality of decisions. And if the President of the United States decides that what the judge has ordered is unconstitutional or overbroad or oversteps his power, the president can choose to take it up to the Supreme Court, which he's going to do. And in the process, what's he doing? They just didn't enforce the judge's order. He didn't defy it. He just chose to slow roll enforcing it. The plane was already out of U.S. airspace. Now, did he actually defy it? Yes. They can't use that word. It would be legal hot water. You got to understand, we're talking nuances here that you must understand. They can't come out from the White House and say, yes, we defied the judge. They can't do that because who hears the appeal? The Supreme Court ultimately gets the appeal, and the Supreme Court's not going to like it if you are bragging about defying a court, because the Supreme Court's going to protect the power of its branch. But also, they defied that court, and good. Listen, the same people who are upset about Donald Trump doing this are the people who are very happy that Joe Biden chose to find ways around the Supreme Court saying you can't forgive student loans. Same principle, different laws, same principle. What's good for the goose, good for the gander. These are the precedents the Democrats set. You Democrats say Donald Trump is writing checks he's not going to be able to cash. He's setting precedents. No. Let's go back. You set the precedent. You set the precedent to ignore the United States Supreme Court, to undermine the credibility of the United States Supreme Court. This is now a partisan, progressive judge appointed by Democrats. The ACLU was able to get this judge to do this, and it's now set up a great legal challenge for Donald Trump. It's also put the Democrats in a very awkward position. Do the Democrats really want to defend the recall of violent gangbangers Do they really want to do this? Seriously, do the Democrats wish to stand on the side of violent illegal aliens from Venezuela? They can hide behind the federal judge, but at some point they're going to have to say, do they want those people here or there? The polling that has come out now says that immigration is no longer a priority issue for the American public. Immigration, no longer a priority issue for the public.
Let's take a look at this. It is one of the most dangerous, treacherous stretches of landscape to get to this country, the Darien Gap. Many people die along the trail there. There were 408 crossings through there last month. Now, there are ways to go around it, but can you even imagine? If we know that number of how many came through, how many didn't make it? That's a massive drop from August 2023. You ready for this? 82,000. If 408 still sounds like a lot because many of them are children who are being carried, we know that from the reporting that's gone on. 82,000? How many people died trying to get here? I mean, this is huge evidence.
That's Harris Wagner on Fox News. So 82,000 in February of 2023. Last year it was 37,000, February 2024. For February 2025, 408. 408. Probably a little higher. Those are the ones we know about. But 408 known. From 82,000, the precise number, 81,946. It's August of 2023. Down to 37,166, February 2024. To now 408. Immigration has fallen to the fourth most important issue for voters because Donald Trump has solved the problem. He simply solved the problem by being president. As he said at his non-State of the Union address to Congress, that they said you would have to change the law. Actually, all you had to do was change president. Promises made, promises kept by Donald Trump on this issue. And now you've got the Democrats daring to side with illegal alien gangbangers from Venezuela led into this country by Joe Biden. Good. I hope they have the fight. This is going to go to the Supreme Court. Going to go to the Supreme Court. Here's the statement from Carolyn Leavitt, the White House press secretary. The administration did not refuse to comply with the court order. The order, which had no lawful basis, was issued after terrorist TDA aliens had already been removed from U.S. territory. The written order and the administration's actions do not conflict. Moreover, as the Supreme Court has repeatedly made clear, federal courts generally have no jurisdiction over the president's conduct of foreign affairs, his authorities under the Alien Enemies Act, and his core Article 2 powers to remove foreign alien terrorists from U.S. soil and repel a declared invasion. It is a declared invasion. The president declared the invasion. Congress might not have declared war, but the president said it was an invasion. Side note, this is why Congress should clean up the law. If the Democrats are horrified that Donald Trump did this and had the power to do this, why don't you start repealing the laws that are on the books instead of screaming about Donald Trump? Do your job. Congress doesn't want to do its job. Democrats want to go on MSNBC and cry about the president. That's all they want to do. Cry about the president. Mean old Donald Trump. Mean old Donald Trump did something you allowed him to do because you kept a law on the books from the late 1700s. But can any Democrat out there, can any Democrat say, yeah, we actually want the gangbangers in this country? Can any Democrat say this? You know, the New York Times tried. They came the closest this weekend. They did a story about how St. Louis, Missouri, with a decline in population, was being offset by immigrants to the community. But Donald Trump's deportation orders changed that. In other words, St. Louis was trying to resurrect itself on the backs of illegal aliens. Illegal aliens. Do they really want to be on the side of the gangbangers? Apparently, yes. Apparently, the ACLU does, too. They want to be on the side of violent criminals who are now not in this country. I gotta think, if you ask the American public, did you know that Democrats want violent gangbangers from Venezuela to be here illegally? I suspect most people would say, no, we're not happy with that. We're happy with Donald Trump. But the Democrats, They are lined up to be on the side of the bad guy time and time again. This, my friend, seriously, this is an 80-20 issue. And they can't hide behind this federal judge in perpetuity. At some point, the Democrats are going to have to be held accountable and will be made to account. Are you on the side of the TDA violent gang, or are you on the side of the American people? If you're on the side of the American people, shouldn't you too be okay with the president deporting these people?
Have something to say? Hello. Call the show. 1-877-97-ERIC. That's 1-877-973-7425.
1221 Cool Day Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Watching a few brake lights out of Norcross heading toward DeKalb via 85 southbound. Tapping the brakes from Jimmy Carter Boulevard down to I-285. You also got construction, Peachtree Boulevard northbound, heading up to Peachtree Industrial Boulevard northbound, I should say, right around Holcomb Bridge. That is in the left lanes. And construction continues in the left lane, 400 southbound, ramping to 85 southbound, causing some delays as you make your way out of Buckhead. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
When the weather is at its worst,
potential area of rotation. That is to the northwest of Acworth. That is right on top of I-75.
We're at our best.
Emergency management centers throughout the metro, they are now open.
Stay prepared for whatever Mother Nature has in store.
Trees and power lines down near the Pickett's Mill battlefield site.
With your severe weather station, 95.5 WSB.
Hey y'all, Belinda Skelton for Four Seasons Home Care, and I'm not going to cry in this commercial, I hope. As many of you know, I lost both my parents recently, but I am so thankful they were able to finish their lives at home where they wanted to be. It's all because of the incredible caregivers who came to see them every day. I am so grateful to Four Seasons Home Care. This is a real family-owned company that vets and hires every single one of their caregiving specialists. They don't have contractors. They're not some national corporation. They are simply the best here in Georgia. And a lot of you have asked me about my journey and if home care is right for your aging parents. I'll tell you what I tell them. Call Four Seasons Home Care and just start the conversation. It's a 100% free call that can change everything. Google Four Seasons Home Care Atlanta. That's Four Seasons Home Care Atlanta.
Septic systems are not a do-it-yourself project. You need an expert. Hi, I'm Shannon, owner of Scorpion Septic. We're Dave Baker's septic experts on the Home Fix-It show. My licensed and insured team specialize in solving your septic problems on the spot.
Take the sting out of septic service with Scorpion Septic, where there is never a pump-out charge with your repair. Details online.
ScorpionSepticServices.com. Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cybersecurity must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business. Powering possibilities.
Now through May 4th, new customers can get started with 300 megabit internet and Security Edge for $69 a month for 24 months. And ask how to get free installation on qualifying bundles. Plus, find out how to get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying gig bundle. Call today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Requires enrollment in paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Equipment, taxes, and other fees extra. After 24 months, regular rates apply.
It's Eric here, and with the election ended, there is change in the air. A new day dawns for American businesses. New regulations, new deregulation, new tax plan, new tax cuts. You may be smelling opportunity in the air. You may be seeing opportunity. Now is the time to consider reaching out to First Liberty Building and Loan and see if they might be able to help you put your plan that's in your head down to paper and see if they can help you capitalize on it. There's so many opportunities out there. If you need to borrow $750,000 or more, well, First Liberty might be able to help you. They make their own lending decisions. They've been doing it since the 90s. They know how to do it, and because the Frost family's been helping businesses since the 90s, they're still going to be there. You're not going to have lender rollover like you've had at other places. Reach out to them, firstlibertyga.com. FirstLibertyGA.com. Spend 10 minutes with them, see if you're a fit for them and them for you. FirstLibertyGA.com.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
The following is a paid commercial announcement.
Smaller businesses are essential to Georgia's economy, but certain personal injury attorneys are gaming the system, targeting them with frivolous lawsuits. Legal fees alone can force a small business to close for good. Senate Bill 68 would stop that. It's a common sense fix that protects hardworking Georgians from abusive lawsuits and makes it easier to stop baseless claims. Visit protectgeorgiasmallbusiness.org and tell legislators to stop lawsuit abuse. Paid for by the National Federation of Independent Business.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. Taking the complicated and making it simple. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
Greetings, conversationalists. Welcome. It is Erick Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. I got to do a very brief reset here in this short segment. Just for those of you who are longtime listeners, we've picked up a pile of stations. We've grown by more than 100%. And some of them are very big, and they're tuning in for the first time today, and they're like, what the heck is this? We were expecting someone else. Well, I'm here now. So, Erick Erickson, broadcasting live from Macon, Georgia, home of more cherry trees, cherry blossom trees than anywhere else on planet Earth, it seems. 3 for every 1 person. And they're all blooming right now, so my allergies are insane. Nonetheless, former lawyer, was on CNN for 30 years, Fox for 5 years, filled in for Rush Limbaugh, Herman Cain, Neil Bortz, started out WSB Radio in Atlanta, Georgia, still my flagship station. Now noon to 3 nationwide, Eastern Time. Glad to have you with me. If you want to find out more, follow me around social media. Follow me on Instagram where I cook. You can text the word Erick, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777. Y'all, there are Democrats now claiming the reason we needed to have this deportation hearing for these gangbangers is because how do we know they're gangbangers? Trump might have just said that they're gang members. How do we really know? We know because the Biden administration processed them into the United States. How do you know that? How do you know where they're from? Anything about them? Because the Trump administration pulled the files. He pulled the files, and guess what? Turns out these people have criminal records in Venezuela. That's how we know who to target. He's not randomly pulling up some dude and say, you look like you're from Venezuela, we got to deport you. They're actually finding the specific people. This is not hard stuff unless you just need to create a conspiracy theory so that you can't argue about the truth. Just, how do we know? We know because they got the paperwork. Again, it's not hard. Biden was just lazy and got dementia. Now, I don't want you to be lazy. I want you to go to EdenPureDeals.com and use Erick3, E-R-I-C-K3, at EdenPureDeals.com. Get yourself an Eden Pure Thunderstorm. I had a wonderful stay at my wonderful favorite resort this weekend. I on Thursday to Saturday, went home Saturday night because wanted to leave before the storms. And the hotel room had a fireplace in it, and they had run an Eden Pure Thunderstorm in there. They had it sitting there. I was like, I know what that is, to get rid of any smell from the previous people who might have used the fireplace in the room. And it worked. It worked. Couldn't smell a fireplace at all. It's fantastic. The Eden Pure Thunderstorm, it cleans up the air, gets rid of all odors, gets rid of pet dander, pollen, dust, packs them all up. You can get 3 of them, save $200. You go to EdenPureDeals.com, and you put in the discount code Erick3, E-R-I-C-K3, at EdenPureDeals.com. No odor can stand up to the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. If it's good enough for high-class hotels, it's good enough for you and me. I use them. EdenPureDeals.com, discount code Erick3.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News, weather,
Traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 12:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. Well, there's a warning today to consumers. Beware of scammers who are targeting people who've lost a loved one. Gabe Sterling with the Secretary of State's office says that a woman got a call from somebody claiming to be with the Veterans Affairs Cemetery. He told her she had to buy an insurance policy before the burial could happen.
The criminal probably saw the obituary, which had details in there that he was then able to use to convince this woman that, hey, I'm for real, I know all these things, and now you have to do this just to bury your loved one.
He says the internet and social media making these types of scams easier and easier. Your weather for today, sunny skies, breezy and cooler, highs around 63. Those winds could be gusting up to 30 miles an hour, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. She'll have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast straight ahead. U.S. Senator Raphael Warnock is proposing legislation to address housing affordability.
This is crushing hardworking families all across Georgia.
The 4 pieces of legislation each addresses a different aspect of the market, including giving credits to some Americans for their rent and providing grants to first-time, first-generation homebuyers. According to Zillow, the median sales price of a home in Metro Atlanta is $385,000 now. Forever 21 is going out of business. The clothing store announcing that it's filed for bankruptcy for the second time in 6 years. The retailer saying that it would conduct liquidation sales as it begins to orderly wind down business. Forever 21's chief financial officer saying that the company was unable to find a sustainable path forward as it faced competition from foreign fast fashion companies. And then the company's website says that it currently has more than 540 locations globally and online, some of those stores here in the Metro Atlanta area. As we take a look at the markets, the Dow is currently up 196 at 41,684. NASDAQ is down. The S&P is in positive territory. It's 12:32.
When it rains, it pours right into your crawl space, and that creates that musty smell and dangerous mold growth under your house. Meteorologist Christina Edwards here for American Crawl Space Solutions. Make the smell and the water go away and stop the water from coming back. Call American Crawl Space Solutions. They're experts at keeping your crawl space dry and preventing the mold from growing in your home. Give them a call today.
American Crawl Space Solutions. Foundations too.
See some of the latest cars, trucks, SUVs, EVs, golf carts, plus collector's cars and more at the 43rd Annual Atlanta International Auto Show, March 20th through 23rd at the Georgia World Congress Center. Visit GoAutoShow.com for more information and tickets.
At Coosa Valley Credit Union, we believe in kinder banking. That means speaking to a real person, a state-of-the-art website and mobile app, and kinder banking means offering our members the most competitive rates in the market. This is Andy Harris. Come see us at Coosa Valley Credit Union.
It's Eric Erickson here. Every single day now I deal with a malicious request to click a link. My daughter the other day got a text message some of you have probably gotten. Click on it and pay your toll, and it's just a scam. All these things keep happening. They're preying upon the young, senior citizens, and you and me. But there's good news. Vision Computer is here to help you. If you have their managed service, you're never alone, and in just 15 seconds, expert tech support is at your fingertips, ready to protect you from online threats, scams, and computer problems. And you don't have to take my word for it. We're a Vision Computer household, but they've got thousands of 5-star reviews beyond my household reviews, but I'd give them 5 stars too. They've got thousands and thousands of 5-star reviews because they're simply the best. Call them at 404-COMPUTE today or visit them online at visioncomputers.com, because when it comes to your security, you can't afford to wait. Vision will take care of you. Tell them I sent you. Call them at 404-COMPUTE or go to visioncomputers.com.
Welcome to Take 5 Oil Change.
Hey, which way is your waiting room?
Oh, you can stay in your car. It only takes 10 minutes.
I can stay in? Get out. I better find a good playlist to listen to while I wait. EDM? Nah. Oh, what about something classical? Nah. You got any suggestions?
Dad rock?
Now you speaking my language.
Take 5. The stay in your car 10-minute oil change.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Here's Alex Williams.
Just found a brand new crash on the West Freeway. It's I-20 westbound. Before you get to Riverside Parkway, exit 46, it is in the left lane, slowing you back toward Fulton Industrial Boulevard. Elsewhere, construction just cleared on Peachtree Industrial Boulevard northbound, right around Holcomb Bridge Road, so delays improving there, but still slow heading toward Midtown and downtown via 400 southbound. You start to hit the brake pedal just past Lenox Road, exit 4, due to left lane construction on the ramp to 85 south. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Sunny skies and breezy today, high 63, wind gusts as high as 30 miles per hour.
Well, more news at 1 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
He's got the courage to tell you the truth, because the truth is what matters. You're listening to The Erick Erickson Show.
Greetings, conversationalists. Welcome. It is Erick Erickson here across America. The phone number, 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, very, very happy to have you. As always, if you text the word DATA, D-A-T-A, text that to 33777. You can get the link to the show notes. You even get a discount on the paid subscription model. But here's the thing. If you text DATA to 33777, you're going to get the show notes. And unlike a lot of other shows out there, I give you all the links to all the stories that I'm going to be talking about in the show, so you can see it, read it for yourself. You don't have to rely on me. You get access to it. It's show prep for your mind. And there's so much more in there than what I'm even talking about, because a lot of times I can't even get to all the stuff I want to talk about. So you get overwhelmed with curated information for you, the accurate, truthful stuff, not the crazy rumors you see on the internet. All you do is text the word DATA to 33777. Friends, Democrats have a problem. They're hated. They are hated. You know what's not hated? Doge. Doge is not hated. 46% of Americans say Doge is a good idea. 40% say it's a bad idea. The rest say they are undecided. But get this, 61% of Americans in an NBC News poll say Doge should keep going and do even more. 33% say keep going and do even more. 28% say keep going but slow down. That is well over 60%. 60% say Doge should keep going. Now, here's the point of this. Democrats try to tell you it's Donald Trump is deeply unpopular. Donald Trump is bad. Orange man bad. We're good. Except it's not. That couldn't be further from the truth. That's not true at all. The data actually shows that Doge is popular. Now, I told you this a couple of weeks ago. You will recall I said that we got to be careful going into the media echo chamber, because in the media, Doge is unpopular. So all the stories in the press are Doge is unpopular, Doge is bad, Doge must be stopped. And you can begin to think that, oh, Doge really is bad. But that's not what the data shows. The data shows from NBC News, not exactly an organization friendly to Donald Trump, that over 60% of Americans say Doge should keep going. That's from NBC News. The same polling shows the Democrats are deeply unpopular. You know what else the NBC News polling shows? Well, let's see if I can get this from Steve Kornacki. Steve Kornacki reviewed the polling data with Kristen Welker on NBC's Meet the Press over the weekend. And the data is kind of shaking up the Democrats a little bit.
First of all, the mood of the country. This really jumped out. We asked folks, is it on the right direction or the wrong direction? That 44% you say right direction, that's up since November. And if that doesn't seem like a lot, the last time it cracked 40%, you got to go back to 2012. The last time it actually hit 44 or higher, January of 2004. So a lot of this is Republicans, but independents, that number is also up since the election on the direction of the country.
Now, Donald Trump also very positive, 74% among Republicans right now. That is part of the reason that this is headed in the right direction. But let me put this in perspective for you. November of 2024, 27% of people said we're headed in the right direction. 66% said we're headed in the wrong direction. Now it's 44 right direction, 54 wrong direction. You can look at this if you're a Democrat and say a majority of Americans say we're headed in the wrong direction. The way you should look at this is Americans have gone in 3 months from 27% headed in the right direction to 44% headed in the right direction. And that number of majority support for headed in the right direction has not been above 50% in a decade, roughly. Those are really good numbers for the President of the United States. Really good numbers for the President of the United States. And the Democrats, meanwhile, in their echo chamber on MSNBC, where Doge is bad, despite NBC's own polling showing 60% thinking he's going, you have Molly Young Fast, a Nepo baby. They're attacking Elon Musk to being a Nepo baby. This is Nepo baby if ever there was one. Got her position because of the privileged elite status of her parents. She's on with Jen Psaki, and listen to this.
Look, this is a policy versus politics problem, right? Biden world, very good on policy, grew the economy, very bad on politics, right? Unable to communicate with voters. We're seeing this sort of hangover from that a little bit. And also, losers are not popular. So they lost, people are mad, Democrats are mad, there's a ton of Monday morning quarterbacking. But the reality is, there's good policy here, and it's popular, too. Like, think about Project 2025. This summer, Project 2025, which is basically all the stuff Trump is now doing, right? Disassembling the Department of Education, ending the National Oceanic, the weather. I mean, this is all stuff that is in Project 2025. Bad policy, wildly unpopular policy. So here's the problem. Democrats actually have to do politics now, and that is where we are. But I do think they have much more popular policy. These things that Trump wants to do are very unpopular. The tariffs are unpopular. All of this is unpopular. So if they can't make this, if they can't message on this, I don't know what to tell them.
Okay, it's not your message, you freaks. It's your actual positions. You actually want illegal gangbangers in this country. You want to stop Doge, which 60% of Americans say should keep going. You covered for a drooling dementia patient for 4 years, and now you're upset. Notice with the Democrats, it's always the message. It's never actually the policies. A majority of people really certainly support having boys and girls sports. Do you know in the state of Illinois, it has now come out, in a middle school with 5th grade girls, the progressive educators hauled girls into a locker room and made them change their clothes in front of a boy who had decided he was transgender, still had all the body parts. They made the girls change in front of this boy, and the Democrats think this stuff is popular. They think this stuff is a witty thing. It's just the message. It's the message. It's not the issue. It's always the message when the Democrats lose. It's never, ever, ever the policy. It's the policy when it's the Republicans in charge, and the Republican policies, well, they're bad for everybody. Republican policies, bad. Democrat policies, good. Republican message, good. Democrat policy message, bad. That's why Democrats lose. Republicans have good. What is the Republican message? We'll keep boys out of girls' sports, and we'll round up the illegal aliens and send them back to Venezuela. That's a pretty good message. And also, you know what else it is? It's a really good policy, supported by most Americans. Notice at the end what Fast says there is tariffs. Tariffs, yes, majority of Americans, they don't like tariffs. I keep encountering well-educated Republican Trump supporters who constantly come up to me and they say, I just don't know that anyone is smart enough to know what a tariff is. I just don't think that, the people in my family, they don't know what a tariff is. Actually, most people understand a tariff is a tax. And whether they understand how it works or not, it isn't popular. And I think Republicans, President included, probably need to walk away from the tariffs. It is the tariffs. When you look at public opinion polling and you put your finger on what is the drag on the GOP, it is not Doge. It is not realigning foreign policy. It is not moving fast on cutting government. It is not tax cuts. It's none of those things. It's tariffs. Tariffs are the thing holding Donald Trump back right now because Americans understand that when a tax is put into effect, they're going to be the ones to pay for it. But other than that, he's wildly popular. And the Democrats are like, no, he's not popular. He's more popular than Joe Biden ever was. And you people, when Joe Biden was president, saying, pay no attention to the public opinion polling, look at the policies. Well, Americans looked at the policies, and that's why he was so unpopular. They're looking at Donald Trump's policies, and they're kind of okay with most of the policies. The polling for Democrats right now is terrible. Democrats hate Democrats. Chuck Schumer has written a book on anti-Semitism, and he was to start a book tour today. Chuck Schumer has decided to cancel the book tour over security concerns. Chuck Schumer is not worried about angry conservatives showing up to attack him. He's worried about violence from the left. Chuck Schumer fears for his life because of progressives. The progressives are furious with Chuck Schumer for not shutting down the government. This is the first time in a long time, first time ever, I think, that it was all the people on the left wanted the government shut down. And they're not even being rational about it. What would have happened had the Democrats gone along with shutting down the government? Russ Vought would have been in charge. Russ Vought, my friend Russ Vought, the director of the Office of Management and Budget, would have been able to order the layoff of federal employees that would not have had to come back to work immediately if the government was reopened. Did you know that? I didn't know that till this weekend. You could have dragged out the layoffs even after the government reopened. The Democrats were put in a difficult position, and the progressives want to eat alive the Democratic leaders in the Senate. Chuck Schumer is now learning what it's like to be Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell, the Republican leader of the Senate, for the longest time took all the bullets from the right. Most people on the right hate his guts. I will defend McConnell's record on occasion, like, oh, you sellout squish. Like, you wouldn't have a conservative Supreme Court but for Mitch McConnell killing off the Merrick Garland nomination. They don't care. McConnell, for years, was the guy who was willing to take all the hate from the right in order to protect members of his party he needed for a majority. And that's what Chuck Schumer is now having to do. Chuck Schumer is having to take on the fight, and Chuck Schumer is having to take all the bullets from people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, metaphorically speaking, of course, in order to protect the more moderate members of his party. Now, you will note there are guys like John Ossoff, the most endangered Democrat in the Senate from here in Georgia. He voted against funding the government. He supported a government shutdown. He voted against protecting girls in sports. He's building a record that's going to be used against him in a place like Georgia. And Chuck Schumer knows what's coming in 26. Even if Donald Trump becomes unpopular in 26, with openings in Michigan and openings in New Hampshire and a guy like Ossoff in Georgia, the odds are the Republicans still do well in the Senate elections. And Chuck Schumer will have an even smaller minority. But the Democrats don't care. They want to fight everything. You know, the wild thing is when you look at independents, who are independents? In polling, you need to understand this. Who is a self-described independent in polling? An independent in polling tends to be someone who leans Republican, but doesn't like the Republican Party. Turns out the independents hate everybody. The independents think that the Republicans are too extreme and the Democrats are too extreme. The Republicans are too crazy. The Democrats are too crazy. But you know what the independents also think? The independents think that the Democrats cannot actually be trusted right now with power. They would rather keep Donald Trump in power, even if they think he's too extreme, because they think the Democrats are even more extreme. And it doesn't help it when the Senate Democratic leader can't do a book tour about anti-Semitism because he's scared about the anti-Semites in the Democratic Party trying to hurt him. And these are the same Democrats who think that we should have gangbangers in the United States. Brace yourself. Donald Trump, according to CNN's polling, also has Donald Trump with 47% approval rating, the highest it has ever been in a CNN poll. Meanwhile, the Democratic Party, 29% in the same poll. How's that working out for you, Democrats? How's it going to work out for you? Probably not too well. The Democrats are headed towards a crack up, and I am here for it. They need to put AOC in charge. Just let her be in charge and alienate the masses of Americans the very first time she says birthing person, because it will happen. Now, what else will happen is you going to ericforhillsdale.com, improving your mind. You go to ericforhillsdale.com, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com. You can take free classes from Hillsdale College. They've got 40 to choose from. From politics to philosophy to religion to math to chemistry to the economy. You find a class you're interested in, you sign up for it, you do it at your own pace. There are video lectures from the finest Hillsdale faculty, and you don't pay a penny, but you learn something. We're all the time, all of us, trying to learn more. You can learn more with Hillsdale College, and it's entertaining. It's fantastic. It is engaging. It captivates your mind, and it teaches you something. And you know it's accurate and true, not like some of the liars you find on social media. What you do is you go to Eric, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com. You put in your information, you pick the class you want, you do it at your own pace. You get a certificate from Hillsdale College that you do the class. ericforhillsdale.com. No charge to you. Get the certificate. You completed the class. You learned something. You improved your mind. ericforhillsdale.com.
Honest.
Putting your trust in me to tell you what's going on.
Transparent.
I need you to know this from the bottom of my heart.
Giving you the information without the noise.
My job isn't to tell you what you want to hear. It's to tell you the truth.
It's the Eric Erickson Show.
1251 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Travel advisory on the West Freeway. We got a crash, I-20 westbound, right next to the theme park there before you get to Riverside Parkway, exit number 46. It leaves only a center lane open. You're jammed from 285. Use Highway 78 as an alternate. Elsewhere, got a crash on I-85 northbound, just north of the 17th Street Bridge. That blocks a right lane. And heads up in Forsyth County, police activity shutting down the Georgia 400 northbound ramp to Highway 141 Peachtree Parkway, exit 13. Use McFarland Parkway or Highway 20. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
The U.S. is investing up to $1 billion to fight the spread of bird flu.
At the top and bottom of every hour.
Traffic congestion around Metro Atlanta continues to cost commuters.
And when it breaks.
The suspect is in critical condition after being struck multiple times.
Check back 3, 4, 5 times a day for the latest.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's breaking news station.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group, to discuss one of the biggest blind spots that people face when saving for retirement, and it's a head scratcher. Chris, how do so many people not know what they're invested in?
That's the biggest flaw that everybody runs into. They think they know what equities they have, they think they know what bonds they have, but they really don't know how those mutual funds or how those index funds are performing in conjunction with one another. So, I would liken this to a big pot of soup, and we're just throwing all the ingredients in the refrigerator in this thing. It's not very good. It's just a mishmash of stuff. And sometimes you like the way it tastes. Sometimes you don't. And when you don't know why. You don't know if you got too much chicken in there or too much vegetables in there or what's going on. And I ask every caller that comes in for an initial consultation, do you know how your portfolio is broken down? And they say, well, I've got, 20 or so options in my 401k, and I just picked 2 of them or 3 of them. I thought I needed some international. I thought I needed some U.S. equities. I thought I needed some bonds. And they're just guessing. So you have to absolutely know what you're invested in, and that's where we will run the 401k portfolio x-ray for you, because that'll break it down. If you're not proficient at investing and don't understand this world, we will walk you through it. Not knowing what you're invested in is a big hindrance to growing and protecting your money. We will run a portfolio x-ray for you and educate you on exactly what's in your portfolio.
Set up a time to get your complimentary portfolio x-ray today. Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858. That's 404-737-3858, or book online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
It's Eric. Are you thinking of adding value to your house, or just you want more convenience and more comfort in your kitchen? Frugal Kitchens can get you one of those $1 million home kitchens at a fraction of the cost. They want to talk to you about how you can go through their process, get your new dream kitchen up and going, and you can be cooking in 5 days from the start of construction and get 18 months no interest financing available. It's what Christy and I have done. Life happens in your kitchen, and Frugal Kitchens can put you in a great one. FrugalKitchens.com.
WSB Atlanta, WSB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Hope. It's more than a word. It's a breakthrough in the making. At City of Hope, we're pushing the boundaries of science targeting cancer at the molecular level. With teams of experts working together to personalize a treatment plan right down to your DNA with unprecedented speed, making every second count with appointments in as little as 24 hours. City of Hope, advancing cancer care at life-saving speed. Learn more at cityofhope.org.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Join Eric's army of activists. Text ARMY to 33777 now.
Hello, America. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number 877-973-7425. If you want to be on the program. Everybody wants to know about the auto pin. Joe Biden, the auto pin. You know, Donald Trump put up pictures of the presidency on the wall. It's very funny outside the Oval Office. There's Donald Trump's presidential portrait from his first term, and then he's got a picture of Joe Biden's auto pin for the Biden administration, and then a picture of Trump's mugshot for his second term. It's very funny. Everybody wants to know about it. I was a lawyer for 6 years, still have my law license. I practiced in corporate law settings. I can tell you as a rule of thumb under federal law, you can sign someone's name for them so long as they consented. And it's binding. So I don't know that Donald Trump has legal basis for the auto pin. It certainly is notable how often the auto pin was used for Joe Biden, including it appears on some of these pardons at the end of his administration. But the law on signature is actually pretty clear on this. If they used a machine to generate Joe Biden's signature, but they had Joe Biden's consent, it is as good as Joe Biden signing it itself. Don't argue with me that you think this is nonsense, these are parts, whatever. I listen, I understand your concern, but I'm telling you what the law is, not what your emotions are. And the law is that if I sign your name and you have explicitly told me I have consent, I have permission, I can do it and get away with it. I myself can sign a contract with a big fat X instead of my signature, and if I intend for that X to be my signature on the document, I'm legally bound by it. And in this case, you're not going to get Joe Biden to say, well, I'm sorry, I didn't consent to pardoning my son. I had no idea they used the auto pin. You're not going to do that. And let's say they haul him into court and he's too incapacitated to testify. Well, you're going to get his chief of staff in there, and the chief of staff's going to say, well, he's clearly mentally declined now, but at the time he was of sound mind. And Jill Biden will go in there and say he was of sound mind. So I understand the fight. I understand the point, but I also understand the law is going to side with Joe Biden on this. An auto pin is an acceptable way to sign legislation so long as he consented. And if you disagree with that, you need to change the law. Don't yell at me for telling you what the law is. This actually was an area of law that I practiced in, and they're going to be able to get away with it whether we like it or not.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down, get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pegol is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. The Georgia Secretary of State's office is warning residents of another scam, this one targeting somebody who is grieving the loss of a loved one.
A woman arranging the burial of her husband got a call from a person who claimed to represent the Veterans Affairs Cemetery. He told her she had to buy an insurance policy before the burial could occur.
She tried to pay by Zelle, $1,200. Zelle flagged it as fraud. And then the guy said, well, now you got to send it by PayPal. And then unfortunately she did.
Gabe Sterling of the Georgia Secretary of State's office says the scammer preyed upon the woman's emotions and warns that everyone needs to be vigilant in situations such as these. Lisa Nicholas, 95.5 WSB.
Your weather this afternoon, it's going to be sunny, breezy, and cool. Afternoon high 63. Some of those winds could be gusting up to 30 miles an hour, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Housing affordability and rent remain top concerns for Metro Atlantans, and a Georgia senator is now pushing a package of bills to address the issue.
U.S. Senator Raphael Warnock says the American dream of homeownership is becoming more and more unattainable.
I hear from young people all the time that they don't believe they'll ever have a pathway to home ownership. They pay so much for rent they aren't able to save, and housing costs are just too expensive.
Warnock's package of legislation would offer grants to first-time, first-generation home buyers, provide some rent relief, and go after investors who buy up homes. According to Zillow, the median sale price of a home in Metro Atlanta is $385,000. Jonathan O'Brien, 95.5 WSB.
A judge rules that Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis has to pay up after violating Georgia's Open Records Act, and she has 30 days to do it. She has to pay over $54,000 to defense attorney Ashley Merchant after Superior Court Judge Rachel Krause ruled the district attorney's office was openly hostile to Merchant by failing to turn over those records. Just because you have a college degree doesn't mean you can slide by. In fact, in 2024, roughly half of Americans holding multiple jobs had a college degree, according to a new analysis by the Federal Reserve. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, roughly 8.9 million workers held multiple jobs last month. Workers with college degrees picking up multiple jobs for a number of reasons, some looking for better opportunities or a shift in their careers. Others say they need the money given the higher prices, stagnant wages, and other economic concerns. And today is St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, that's the sound from one of the largest parades in the nation. It happens right here in Georgia, in downtown Savannah. Everybody wearing their green. It's 102.
At D. Geller & Sons Spring Bridal event, March 21st through 23rd, you're going to have the opportunity to work with their expert jewelers to redesign your engagement ring or any special piece into something new and extraordinary. And with up to $3,000 in savings or 0% APR for 3 years, your dream redesign is within reach. So make an appointment today at dgeller.com. Walk-ins are welcome, but scheduling guarantees you personalized attention at D. Geller & Son, Atlanta's trusted jeweler since 1939.
Are you facing a fork in the road and deciding between continuing your career and retirement? I'm Wes Moss, host of Money Matters, and this massive life decision shouldn't be taken lightly. Talk with my team if you'd like help reviewing your retirement accounts and building a financial plan. We can help you review options and offer an opinion based on your best interests. You can find us at yourwealth.com. That's Y-O-U-R, wealth.com.
Listeners, friends, family, neighbors, heck, even coworkers have asking me about QC Kinetics treatment. Hey, it's Mark here. No joke. Coworker the other day asked me about QC Kinetics. They want to know if they should consider it for their joint pain. Well, if you're wondering if you're a good candidate, let's see if you answer yes to any of these questions. First question, is your quality of life impacted by chronic pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or other joints? Next, do you want to avoid surgery and all of the pain? And most importantly, do you miss doing the things you love because joint pain is holding you back? If you answer yes to any of those questions, I bet you're a great candidate with my friends at QC Kinetics. Call QC Kinetics right now. Ask for your free consultation. Learn how the latest advances in regenerative medicine can get you lasting pain relief. No drugs, no surgery, no downtime. Call 770-285-8026. That's 770-285-8026. 770-285-8026.
Wall cracks, window stuck, could be a foundation problem. Mark Beckham with Atlanta Ramjack and our estimators are thoroughly trained to get you the proper evaluation for your home. Schedule your free assessment with the foundation repair experts at atlantaramjack.com.
when the weather is at its worst?
Governor Kemp has declared a state of emergency for the entire state of Georgia until midnight Wednesday morning.
We're at our best.
Again, a tornado warning is in effect for Paulding, Cobb, and southern Cherokee counties.
Stay prepared for whatever Mother Nature has in store.
The movement of the storm 70 miles an hour, incredibly fast.
With your severe weather station, 95.5 WSB.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Here's Alex Williams.
Big jam on the West Freeway right now. All lanes being held. I-20 westbound right next to Six Flags over Georgia. They're trying to get a crash off to the right. They're doing so as I speak. I think they're still going to hold the right lane. 20 westbound before Riverside Parkway exit 46. Very slow from 285. Use Highway 78. And a left lane crash. I-75 northbound in Cobb County at Delk Road exit 261. Slowing you through Marietta. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upward. Sunny skies today, breezy and rather cool. High 63, wind gusts as high as 30 miles per hour. Temperatures dropping to the mid-30s to low 40s tomorrow morning. Sunshine tomorrow afternoon, high 72. Wednesday, partly cloudy, morning low 47. Afternoon highs in the mid-70s.
WSB Storm Tracker radar is clear. We have sunny skies and 51 degrees in Johns Creek. It's 51 in Dunwoody, 52 here in Midtown Atlanta. More news at 1:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome across America. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number, 877-973-7425. That's 877-97-ERIC, E-R-I-C-K. If you want to be on the program, you can text ERIC, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777. Get the show notes, the live stream, the podcast. Get the social media links, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you name it. It's all there. Eric to 33777. I've got to say something a little bit snotty and know-it-all-y. And you'd be amazed at the number of people who send me hate mail and say, you're just a know-it-all. I just happen to know stuff. I'm like, what's his name from Game of Thrones? I drink and I know things. I need to say something, and it's going to come across as a little snotty to some of you who are really been out of shape about what I said in the last segment. And so I apologize. But I have, during commercial break, gotten hate mail from people very upset at me for disagreeing with Donald Trump about the validity of Joe Biden's auto pin on the pardon. Now, I realize that he is president of the United States. But I was a lawyer who did corporate transactions. And if you want to call and argue with me about the signature, and you can have an articulate conversation on Article 9 of the UCC and how it incorporated common law doctrine on identities of instrumentation into the Uniform Commercial Code, Article 9 for commercial transactions, and the history of the signature as an identifying event for intent of people's actions, you can call in and we can have that discussion. But if you can't articulate how Article 9 of the UCC incorporates common law standards on signatures that are reflected through American history with Supreme Court precedent to back it up, then I'm sorry, we can't have this conversation, and you're entitled to your opinion, but your opinion is devoid of knowledge. I don't mean to be a jerk, but don't tell me I'm wrong because the president says so. The president's a great businessman. The president did not go to law school and practice this specific area of law, but I happen to be someone who did. So, yes, it's a great thing to point out that the auto pin was abused by the Biden White House, but you're going to have to overcome a default presupposition that it was the president's intent to use the auto pin. And who is going to be your witness to undermine his chief of staff and his wife and undoubtedly his son and his vice president and everyone else, none of those people are going to testify under oath that Joe Biden was too incapacitated to not be able to give his intent to the auto pen. And the law says if someone or some instrument is used to make a mark that you use as your signature, you are bound by that mark. That's the law. That is not my opinion of the law. That is a restatement of the law. So don't be mad at me for just telling you the truth. Don't be mad at me for telling you the truth. Now, I got to move on to other things. The phone number, if you want to call in, 877-973-7425. If you're new here, let me start this way. If you are new here, I do my talk radio show a little differently than a lot of people do their talk radio shows. Just stick with me here. This is relevant. Rush Limbaugh was a friend of mine well before I got into radio. In fact, I got into radio because of Rush. Rush got me into radio. He found me my agent. He let me guest host for him. He was a great friend. And one of the great things that Rush Limbaugh taught me along the way, and there was so much that Rush taught me along the way, but Rush also taught me that I need to be myself. Don't do a bad impression of Rush Limbaugh. People sometimes, they send me angry notes and they say, you're no Rush Limbaugh. I'm like, well, that's great, because one day he and I had a conversation and he was asking me if I ever want to do national radio. I said, no, as long as you're around, there's no chance I'll be number one. And he laughed and he said, even if I'm dead, you'll never be as good as me, so just be yourself. And I went from being a very constantly bombastic radio show host to here's how I actually approach things is I want to tell you what's happening. I want to tell you the facts of what's happening. I want to give you analysis of what's happening. And then I want to tell you what I think about what's happening. And oftentimes in doing this, I get accused of carrying water for one side or the other. Oftentimes I get attacked by Trump supporters for being insufficiently deferential towards the president or critical of the president or accused of being never Trump. Because, you know, if I think somebody's wrong, I'm going to say it. And I've got an open line here. You can call in and disagree with me. It is my opinion that this is or isn't something. And if it's about the president, sometimes people get very upset. If it's about the Democrats, people get very upset. I'm just used to upsetting people. Here's the truth of what's happening. Now let me tell you what I think about it. And I oftentimes get accused of being too empathetic to the other side. But my personal view is that we should be able to understand and articulate the arguments of the other side so that we can defeat the other side. It has always been the case that pro-lifers have always had a better understanding of what the pro-abortion argument is than the pro-abortion argument has for the pro-lifers. And so pro-lifers have been so successful in ending Roe versus Wade because pro-lifers were able to understand better the other side's argument and then work to undermine that argument. But I got to tell you, I don't even want to dive into the breakdown of institutions that we're seeing with Donald Trump and try to just explain it. I want to tell you where I am emotionally in what's happening right now. He shut down the Voice of America and Radio Free Europe. When I was a kid, growing up overseas, I had a shortwave, longwave radio, old Magnavox radio I literally got from a Sears and Roebuck's catalog, which was a thing when I was a kid. And I actually remember this radio so much my dad still has it in Louisiana. This old radio, we ordered it twice, and it kept coming back the wrong one. And it was what I wanted. We needed to get it. We were headed back overseas for the year from summer vacation in Louisiana. And finally, we showed up at the Sears, and they're like, oh, guess what? The numbers are transposed in the catalog. So if you order this one, if you order the wrong one, you're going to get the one you want. If you order the one you want, you're going to get the wrong one. So we got it in time. I went back to Dubai. I had an extra copper wire that I strung up in the room, and I could hear the BBC, and I could hear the Voice of America. I could hear Radio Free Europe. I could get stations all over the world. I would write off, and I would get their guides. And back in the day, you had to actually, there was no internet. You had to actually write a letter to the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation asking for their guide, and a month later it would show up in the mail. Or the Australian Broadcasting Service, or Free Hong Kong, or whatever it was called back in the day. And you get these guides, and I would tune into the radio stations, and I loved the Voice of America just because there are Americans Here I am in a foreign country, and I'm getting the news. I love the Voice of America. Donald Trump has shut it down today. He's put it out of business. Radio Free Europe as well, he's put out of business. Good. I love them, but good. I have come to the conclusion that too many of these institutions are too irredeemably corrupted by progressives to be saved. That includes academic institutions. It includes academic institutions. It includes governmental entities like USAID. It includes places like the Voice of America. It includes National Public Radio. They're irredeemably corrupt. See, the right was fine with neutral entities. Now, I know I have friends out there who say there's no such thing as real neutrality. No. Math is a neutral thing. Math is neutral. 2 plus 2 equals 4, whether you say it in English or you say it in Chinese. 2 plus 2 equals 4. That is neutral. What is not neutral is when you are captured by progressives, these neutral institutions like the Academy, and suddenly 2 plus 2 equals 4, except if you're non-white, you can't hold them accountable for getting it wrong because you're systemically racist. At that point, burn the institution down. People are all upset about Project 2025. What about the 1619 Project from the New York Times that completely rewrote American history into some portrayal of racism that simply was not true and was rejected by academics from the left to the right? Far left academics said Project 1619 was wrong, or 1670, whatever the hell it was, that it was wrong. It was a fabricated revision of American history, and the New York Times still turned it into an academic curriculum available to public schools, some of which adopted it. Burned those institutions to the ground. Put salt on them so they can never grow up again. The left calls people like me culture warrior. I am an evangelical Christian. I believe God made all things and that he sent his son, Jesus Christ, who was born of a virgin, suffered under Pontius Pilate, was crucified, died, was buried, descended into hell. The third day he rose again from the dead, ascended into heaven, and he will come to judge the quick and the dead. I believe in the Holy Catholic Church, though I'm Presbyterian. I believe in the communion of saints. I believe in all of that. And I'm called a culture warrior by people who want to put boys and girls sports, not because I'm fighting them, but because I'm just standing there saying, no, I think we should keep the status quo. Somehow I'm the culture warrior. They put porn in elementary schools, and I'm the warrior. I'm the one fighting. How the hell am I fighting? I'm just saying we should stand still and not be insane, and you people are like, you're a culture warrior. Well, guess what? This is what fighting looks like, and this is what losing looks like if you're on the left. Donald Trump is president of the United States, and he's wiping out these institutions. They are irredeemably corrupted at this point, and I don't have a problem with it. I'm sorry, but reasonable, responsible me who wants to try to empathize with the left and explain their situation, I get it. You're thinking, we just put these people in charge, and yeah, that maybe they drifted a little ways, but it's okay. No, it's not. I'm sorry. My kid goes to an institution that itself is not woke. My alma mater. It's not a woke university. She had a professor in her art program frog march a kid up to the front of the classroom and berate the girl because she was from rural Georgia with a church upbringing and dared to call the girl she in class when that girl had decided for herself that she was a they-them. And it was the normal girl who got frog marched to the front of the classroom and berated by the professor in front of everyone else that you must respect that person's pronouns. No, you know why you don't respect that person's pronouns? Because what that person is trying to do is exercise power over you by forcing you to say something that you know is not true. And you have to stand up to them, and you can't allow the law and the bullies of the academy to force you to give up the truth, because that's ultimately what they're trying to do with the pronoun gang, is they're forcing you to give up the truth. They're forcing you to say the sky is green and the grass is blue so that everyone else will too, so that we can change the definition of words. And when it's got to that point, the academy needs to be burned to the ground. USAID done a lot of good things, but it was funding transgender kids in Uganda and trans mice and lesbian acting troops in Burma and condoms in Gaza, not Gaza in Israel, but the Gaza province of Mozambique, and teaching men how to get circumcised in South Africa. What the hell? I have no idea. But an institution that's spending my tax dollars at a point we are $35 trillion in debt and thinks that we need to spread wokeism around the world is an institution that needs to be shut down and burned to the ground. For every progressive listening to me right now saying, you're setting a dangerous precedent. No, you set the precedents. You are the people who shut down classrooms across America, refused to reopen them, and then when we had a learning gap, you said, it wasn't us. I mean, Donald Trump started it. You are the people who, when we said, hey, it seems logical the virus came from the Wuhan Institute of Virology, you're racist for saying that. Now you're like, hey, guess what? Yeah, our bad. It was true. Let's move on. No, you destroyed people's careers for speaking the truth, and now you're like, oh, our bad. No, your institution should be burned to the ground. I got a lot of criticisms on occasion for things Donald Trump does. This is not one of them. His war on American progressive institutions, these were neutral institutions. They were neutral. They promised not to take sides, and they did. And uniformly, they took the progressive side, and they came out, for example, for DEI, and they said, we need diversity, so long as it's not intellectual diversity, so long as it's we got gay and straight and black and white and male and female and transgender, as long as they're all perfectly progressive, we're fine with it. Burn them to the ground. Burn all those institutions to the ground. They are irredeemably corrupted. And for you progressives who don't like it and say, we're going to be back in power, you're right. You're going to be back in power. And what you're going to find when you're back in power is you're going to have to rebuild the institutions because they're not going to exist anymore. It's a lot quicker to tear stuff down than build stuff up. And that's all part of the plan. Tear it all down and dare you to try to rebuild it in your image. Dare you to try to do it. And one day Republicans will get back in charge. And guess what? We'll level it all over again. You had a choice to have these institutions stay neutral, and you chose to weaponize them against conservatives and stock them full of progressives. And now this is what losing looks like for you.
Those who love him, listen to find out what he's going to say next. Those who disagree with him, also listen to see what he's going to say next. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
121 Coolray Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Big jam due to a travel advisory. I-75 northbound. It's at Delk Road, exit 261. Crash in 3 left lanes. Jamming the ride. Trying to get past Truist Park, leaving 285. Use Highway 41, Cobb Parkway, the express lanes with a Peach Pass. Elsewhere, crash still lingering in the right lane. I-20 westbound before Riverside Parkway. You're slow back to 285. Also slow in 285 north and south trying to ramp onto the West Freeway. Traffic brought to you by Zinchi Handcrafted Sushi. Craving something fresh and flavorful? Discover Zinchi Handcrafted Sushi, high quality, affordable, and made fresh daily. Find Zinchi Sushi today at your local Publix markets, right by the seafood counter. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Stay connected to Atlanta's news, weather, and traffic with the 95.5 WSB app. Listen to Atlanta's morning news. EVH, Eric Erickson, Mark Aram, and Shelley Winter. No matter where you go, 95.5 WSB and the WSB app. Download it today or find us in the iHeart and Odyssey apps.
Belinda here for Atlanta Vision Institute. I'm here to introduce you to a new procedure that Dr. Ashraf is performing called laser optics. This changed my life, folks. I was so tired of wearing contacts and glasses. The glasses were not around when I needed them. I had astigmatism, so the contacts didn't fit me well, and I had beginning stages of cataracts. So I went in. I was a great candidate for laser optics. It was a quick, painless procedure. The next day, it was like everything was in HD. The colors were more vibrant. The leaves were more vibrant. The sky was more vibrant. My husband was better looking. Everything was great. Laser optics with Dr. Ashraf, Atlanta Vision Institute. Go to the website 2020atlanta.com to find out more information. Also, take the quiz to see if this is a procedure that's good for you. Your medical insurance may cover it. That's 2020atlanta.com.
When it rains, it pours. It's not a matter of if it's going to storm, it's when. Hi, this is Candace with Exovations, and have I got a tip for you? There are only a few things you can be certain of living in Georgia. The weather is absolutely uncertain, storms are coming, and with that, the storm chasers blew in. You know, the ones that show up, canvass your neighborhood for a free inspection. make deals that are too good to be true, tell you all the neighbors are doing it, and then once they're done, they're gone like the wind. Everyone says they offer a lifetime warranty, but it only lasts as long as the company's in town. At Exovations, we will install your roof on time, on budget, and without all that stress that you usually hear about in construction, which means we stand behind our warranties. We provide you with written documentation, and we will be here to weather the next storm. So let it rain. We've got you covered. Visit exovations.com to schedule your free consultation today.
When your air conditioner or furnace breaks down, the last thing you need is more surprises. That's why at Jape Services, you'll always get a free estimate with honest, upfront pricing. Hi, this is Daniel Jape, and we've helped thousands of your friends and neighbors with their heating and cooling needs, and our reputation depends on offering the best solution. Whether you need maintenance, repairs, or a new system, call the company you can trust, Jape Services.
Count on us, Jape Services.
It's Eric. I don't know about y'all, but life happens in our kitchen. It's where we have our memories, our family time, our laughs. Well, you don't want a lot of downtime, but you may want to renovate your kitchen. You want one of those $1 million kitchen looks and get it at the fraction of the cost with Frugal Kitchens. They know that you've got plans for your kitchen, and they want to help you. And here's why I love them. They can have you cooking in 5 days from the start of construction and get you 18 months no-interest financing. FrugalKitchens.com. That's where you want to check them out. FrugalKitchens.com.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
You can be live on Eric's show by calling 877-97-ERIC. That's 877-973-7425.
Yes, you can be a part of the program. Just be patient with me if you're on hold because, well, I ran long in the last segment. You can also text the word Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777 if you want to get the live stream, the show notes, the podcast, all that. Rory McIlroy got up this morning, watched the playoff for the Players. He's a great golfer. He's been through a kind of dry spell this year. He started winning some stuff. It was nice to see him win the Players in this playoff this morning. Did a great job. He's a nice guy, and it's good to see good things happen to nice people. I played 54 holes of golf at Barnsley Gardens over the last 4 days, and boy, does my body feel it. It was wonderfully relaxing. I needed to get away for a few days. I haven't in quite a while, and it was just nice to step back. Met some very nice people who listened to the program, and I got to fish. I got to hit golf balls. I got to just hang out and smoke cigars and have some bourbon with friends, and it was so peaceful up there. I love that place. Absolutely love it. And now back and recharged and ready to go. And you know who's coming home? The stranded astronauts. This is kind of one of the infuriating dumb things to me. The variety of dumb stories that I've encountered during the Biden administration. The Biden administration used the term temporarily stranded these astronauts because of the Boeing Starliner failure. When Donald Trump said he was going to get the stranded astronauts home, the media answer is, these are not stranded astronauts. Well, then why did Joe Biden call them stranded? They're coming home now, thanks to Elon Musk. Good. Banks out there having all sorts of problems. Have y'all seen what gold is doing? Gold is the highest it has ever been now, over $3,000 a troy ounce. It's just crazy. There's a secret war on cash going on that Swiss America has been warning people about. They're the trusted leader in precious metals for 40 years. If you're interested in safeguarding your hard-earned cash from this secret war, you need to report it. It's completely free. Swiss America is rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. They can educate you on protecting your assets in their report, The Secret War on Cash. It takes just 15 minutes to read. I, myself, have read it. You can get a free copy by calling or texting 800-289-2646. 800-289-2646. The all-out war on cash includes digital forms of currency. It is growing. You get the free report, The Secret War on Cash, by calling or texting my name, Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. Message and data rates may apply.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Ben Hill Renovation. U.S. Senator Raphael Warnock today proposing legislation to address housing affordability here.
This is crushing hardworking families all across Georgia.
The four pieces of legislation each address a different aspect of the market, including giving credits to some Americans for their rent and providing grants to first-time, first-generation homebuyers. According to Zillow, the median sale price of a home in Metro Atlanta is $385,000 right now. Your weather for today, sunny and breezy, going to be cool, highs around 63. Some of those winds could be gusting up to 30 miles an hour. We'll have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up in just a matter of minutes. The state's warning consumers to beware of scammers who are targeting people who've lost a loved one. Gabe Sterling with Secretary of State's office says that a woman got a call from somebody claiming to be with the Veterans Affairs Cemetery. He told her that she had to buy insurance before the burial could happen.
The criminal probably saw the obituary, which had details in there that he was then able to use to convince this woman that, hey, I'm for real, I know all these things, and now you have to do this just to bury your loved one.
He says the internet and social media is making these types of scams easier and easier. It seems we're working fewer hours these days. Analytics company ActiveTrack says the average workday in the U.S. ends at 4:39 in the afternoon. That's 42 minutes earlier than just 2 years ago. The average American now works 8 hours and 41 minutes each day. The total is down almost a full hour from 2022, but despite the shorter day, they say overall worker productivity has actually risen 2%. Let's take a look at the markets. The Dow right now is up 315 at 41,803. NASDAQ is currently down slightly. The S&P's up almost 0.5%. It's 132.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects. Now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
There aren't many things more precious than your engagement ring. The start of your love story, a symbol of your commitment that you get to treasure every day. Have you ever thought about breathing new life into that ring? At D. Geller & Sons Spring Bridal event, we're bringing the most exclusive names in engagement and wedding ring design to you with their full assortments. Come to D. Geller & Son for the ultimate ring shopping experience this weekend, March 21st through 23rd in Kennesaw and Sandy Springs. RSVP online at dgeller.com.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Here's Alex Williams.
Travel advisory continues up through Marietta. Crash 3 left lane, 75 northbound Delk Road, exit 261. Those delays now spilling back onto I-285. Use Highway 41, Cobb Parkway, or the express lanes with the Peach Pass. And a crash still lingers in the right lane, also in Cobb, I-20 westbound before Riverside Parkway, exit 46. You're slow from 285. That also slow in 285 both ways. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Sunny skies and breezy today. High 63. Wind gusts as high as 30 miles per hour.
We'll have more news coming up at 2 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Smart, fearless, and occasionally funny. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Joe has been waiting very patiently. I want to get to his phone call here. Joe, welcome to The Eric Erickson Show. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Great. What's going on?
Say, I was wondering, you're doing all this talk about the tariffs and Trump raising all the tariffs and everything, and that the American people are going to end up paying for it all. But what's the difference between the tariffs and all that up and down that they're doing, all those high percentages, and the Democrats raising or charging the billionaires all this extra money on taxes that is just going to turn around and come back down to the consumer anyway? So what's the difference between the two?
Part of the difference is that it's the Republicans doing it instead of the Democrats, and Republicans tend to be against taxes. But the other one is that billionaires can find creative ways to avoid tax liability that you and I cannot. Everybody, middle class, the poor, the wealthy, we all pay the tariff. I know there are people who like to say it's the foreign country that pays tariff. That's not true. It's actually the importer into this country that raises their prices to cover the cost of the tariff, and it applies actually to us. Technically, it's the importing company that pays the tariff, but the way it ultimately works is they raise the price of the good that has the tariff so that they can get the money to pay for the tariff. So you cannot get out of it. I can't get out of it. Billionaires have plenty of opportunities to get out of taxes. And by the way, I would note for the record, it is Elizabeth Warren who has restructured a lot of laws in this country to benefit those very same billionaires that she regularly attacks. And God forbid you notice that she actually is subsidizing billionaires out there. Real quick, I got an action alert. If you're in the state of Georgia, we've been following this speed camera bill in the state of Georgia. If you text ENGAGE to 33777, this bill has a hearing in the State Senate Public Safety Committee on Wednesday. You need to get on the horn with your state senator and tell them to take action against this legislation. To support the legislation, tell them to support HB 225. It has the votes in the Senate to pass if it can get to the floor of the Senate. I have done a survey of senators. It has the votes to pass, but it's got to get out of committee to get there, and they're trying to kill it and stop it from getting to the floor. So if you text the word ENGAGE to 33777, you can get your senator to support the bill killing the speed cameras in the state of Georgia. Now, we got to move on to other stuff because we've been bombing the Houthi. When Joe Biden became president, in his rush to reform all the things that Donald Trump had done, one of the dumb things Joe Biden decided to do was to take the Houthi off the terror watch list. Now, I am not an expert on the Houthi. I'm not. I did grow up overseas. I did spend time in the Middle East. I'm familiar with the political dynamics. When I was a kid in the 80s, you had North Yemen and South Yemen. They were divided. One was pro-West, one was pro-communist. They merged over time. The pro-communist one naturally after the fall of the Soviet Union went bankrupt, needed help. They merged. Well, over time, a charismatic figure rose to power, it began bringing people into almost a cult, and they are the Houthi, and it is a religious movement funded by Iran, because the Houthi are a Shiite minority. For those of you unaware of the dynamic here, Islam has two primary branches, Sunnism and Shiites. The Shiites believe that the leader of Islam must descend from the Prophet Muhammad. The Sunni believe it does not necessarily need to be a bloodline relative of Muhammad to lead the movement. And over time, the religious traditions and interpretations of Islam have differed between the Sunni and the Shia, and there's a real religious rivalry there. Iran is the hotbed center of Shiite Islam, and they fund proxies, largely Shiite-supporting proxies around the world, including the Houthi in Yemen, who have been firing on ships ever since October 7th and the situation with Israel and their response to Hamas. The United States has had to send naval vessels into the Red Sea to take on the Houthi, and the Biden administration was not very aggressive. The Biden administration would lob a few missiles here or there, but they really wouldn't do anything to stop the Houthi. The Houthi claimed they were only targeting ships headed to Israel, and that turned out not to be true. And the result is that a lot of shipping decided to go all the way around Africa, the whole continent, to get to Europe than to go through the Red Sea. It's a lot quicker. It takes about 2 weeks off the trip to go through the Red Sea. So the Houthi and the pirates combined in the Red Sea, tying up shipping channels, caused a lot of problems for international trade. Donald Trump over the weekend decided it was time to take out the Houthi, and we lobbed a lot of missiles at the Houthi, and it is ongoing. Marco Rubio was on television with Margaret Brennan talking about this situation. Rubio, of course, a big proponent of being aggressive with terrorists around the world, and in particular with taking on the Houthi in the Red Sea, because not just international trade, but essentially targeting American sovereignty. And over the weekend, they targeted American ships.
For our audience, just to explain, this Red Sea area is a really important transit point for global shipping. The Houthis out of Yemen have been disrupting transit there for some time. President Trump cited these concerns when he announced the strikes. I'm wondering, how long will this campaign last, and will it involve ground forces?
Well, first of all, the problem here is that this is a very important shipping lane, and in the last year and a half, the last 18 months, the Houthis have struck or attacked 174 naval vessels of the United States, attacking the U.S. Navy directly 174 times, and 145 times they've attacked commercial shipping. So we basically have a band of pirates, you know, with guided precision anti-ship weapons.
Oh, of course it would crash on me. Let's try one more time. Marco Rubio talking to Margaret Brennan. See if I can fire up the sound system one more time on this thing. Well, no, what he went on to say, sorry folks, technical issue. What Marco Rubio went on to say is that global shipping has been denied, and the United States intends to do everything possible to take on this. Mike Waltz was on with Martha Raddatz on ABC.
Now to President Trump's national security advisor, Mike Waltz. Good morning, Mr. Waltz. Let's get right to this. We have seen strikes like this before under the Biden administration. The Houthis kept firing missiles. What's different with this?
Well, thank you. And the difference is these were not kind of pinprick back and forth, what ultimately proved to be feckless attacks. This was an overwhelming response that actually targeted multiple Houthi leaders and took them out. And the difference here is, one, going after the Houthi leadership, and two, holding Iran responsible. It is Iran that has repeatedly funded, resourced, trained, and helped the Houthis target not only U.S. warships, but global commerce, and has helped the Houthis shut down two of the world's most strategic sea lanes. We have, Martha, 70% of global shipping is now diverting around southern Africa adding to the cost of goods, disrupting global economies, adding to or shutting off supplies to the United States. President Trump has found it unacceptable. What we inherited was a terrible situation, and this is one of what will be a sustained effort to right that wrong and to reopen global commerce.
Yes, it is about global commerce, but it's also about the United States' involvement around the world. The Biden administration, however much Democrats try to defend it, was actually not very strong on the world stage. It's why Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine. I know Democrats get very sensitive when you point this out, but it's the God's honest truth. Notice when Donald Trump was in the presidency, Vladimir Putin left the Ukrainians alone. Joe Biden spread weakness around the world. Were Donald Trump president of the United States on October 7th, 2023, I personally do not believe Hamas would have engaged in its attack on Israel. I don't think they would have. I don't think Putin would have invaded Ukraine, and I don't think the Houthi would have been as emboldened in Yemen to do what they have done. And our attacks on Yemen are going to continue, going to engage, and hopefully going to wipe them out. Now, Margaret Brennan did ask Marco Rubio on CBS Face the Nation if there would be boots on the ground. He said, not to his knowledge, no one's talking about boots on the ground. And I don't think they are. We can lob missiles at the Houthi. But one of the other aspects of this that is deeply relevant to it is that the Houthi are funded by Iran. And to the extent the Houthi are doing what they're doing, the Houthi are, in fact, in the pocket of the Iranians, and they should be held liable for what's actually happening. One more. This is Mike Waltz on the Iranians.
And the president has said Iran will not be allowed to have a nuclear weapon. A week ago, warning that Iran, something is going to happen very, very soon that will solve the problem if there is no peace deal, and talking about nuclear weapons. So what is he talking about? Is he talking about a possible strike on the nuclear facilities by Israel, and would the U.S. join in that?
Well, what the president has has repeatedly said is that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. All options are on the table to ensure it does not have one. And that's all aspects of Iran's program. That's the missiles, the weaponization, the enrichment. They can either hand it over and give it up in a way that is verifiable, or they can face a whole series of other consequences. But either way, we cannot have a world with the Ayatollahs with their finger on the nuclear button. We cannot have a situation that would result in an arms race across the Middle East in terms of nuclear proliferation. And President Trump is determined one way or another. Iran has been offered a way out of this to make sure that we don't have a world that can be threatened by a radical regime, not only our ally Israel, but the entire world that would be threatened by a radical regime that could destroy not only Israel, but its neighbors, and have the capability to hit the United States. Martha, we cannot imagine a situation like that, and we're not going to have it.
Amen. Amen. We can't afford for Iran to have nuclear weapons. See, there's this belief that all parties are rational actors on the world stage. But if you are fundamentally dogmatic and believe that it is your role on planet Earth to bring about the end times, to bring about the Mahdi, so that you can have the return of Muhammad and the end times, well, it's rational for you then to use nuclear weapons. See, you and I look at this and say, particularly in the West, we look at this, religious fundamentalism is rational, except, I put the fun in fundamentalism. But if you're a Western elite, you look at this and say, religious fundamentalism, that's not rational. These people, they're rational actors. Well, they're rationally religious fundamentalists who believe that they've got to wipe out Israel to bring about the end times. It's part of what they believe. And so it's rational for them to want to have nuclear weapons to wipe out Israel, to bring about the Mahdi. That's a personally rational thing for a religious fundamentalist to want, even if you and I look on it and think, well, this is nuts. We got to stop them from getting a nuke. We also need to undermine them in funding groups like the Houthi and Hezbollah and Hamas and the other groups. Israel can't be doing it alone. We got to help. And the Biden administration refused to do the hard things that needed to be done, which is kind of the entire pattern of Biden's presidency. He was never willing to do the hard stuff. He could talk a tough game, but he couldn't actually bring himself to be tough, except against his fellow Americans who he disagreed with politically. That was always part of the problem. Now, all of you people listening on these new stations and new time slots on existing stations, I need to tell you about Vision Computer. If you are in the market for a new computer, you want to save some money and get a bleeding-edge machine and work with good people, Vision Computers who you need to work with, because not only will they build you a great machine that's going to save you some money, but also if you call them at 404-COMPUTER, go to visioncomputers.com, they're going to build you a machine and give you their 5-star customer service. It is extraordinary customer service. I say this not just as someone who advertises for them, but as an actual customer of Vision Computers. We have one of their computers in our house. My son wanted a gaming PC. I'm a Mac guy. They could build him a gaming PC. Every time he's had a problem, I used to use Windows machines, but it's been so long. If he has a problem, he calls the special number. They've never taken longer than about 5 seconds to answer. They say tell people up to 15 seconds. 5 seconds max. I mean, you call, they almost instantly answer the phone. He's never been put on hold, and they've been able to walk him through whatever the issue was he couldn't figure out. Oftentimes, it's he got worked up, kicked his table, and unplugged a cable by accident because he was so excited playing a video game. They're marvelous, and they can do this for your company. They can do it for yourself. So if you've got an assistant, you're a small businessman, and you're the tech support in your company, Vision can do it for you. Just $179 a year. You don't even have to have bought the computer from Vision. If you buy the computer from them, it's completely free, the tech support. And it is 5-star service. Look on Google. You will see. Look up Vision Computers. VisionComputers.com or 404-COMPUTE. In fact, if you call them and tell them I sent you, you'll save even more money. 404-COMPUTE or VisionComputers.com.
Seems hazy? Eric will clear the way. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
151 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Travel advisory continues in Marietta. Crash 3 left lane, 75 northbound Delk Road, exit 261. You're stacked up as you leave 285, also impacting the 285 ramps. Also looks like new trouble 75 southbound right around South Marietta Parkway. We're going to scan the jam cam for that. Earlier crash 20 westbound near Riverside Parkway in Cobb is cleared. Traffic brought to you by Georgia United Credit Union. Georgia United Credit Union has cooked up something special, a 15-month limited time CD with an incredible 4.2% to 4.25% APY. Turn your dough into more dough by visiting gucu.org/CD today. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Mark Arum.
What did you do last week?
He knows Atlanta.
It hasn't happened here.
And Atlanta knows him.
I'm a simple man with simple needs.
Mark Arum.
Like the new boss comes in and says, we're starting all over here.
Tomorrow at 9 a.m.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
The foods we eat can be downright bad for our health. This is Sue from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've been teaching the truth about real bread. Not the stuff you buy at the store. I'm talking real bread made with freshly milled flour. When you buy bread from the store, take a look at the ingredients. Enriched flour means that the nutritious bran and germ has been removed to improve the shelf life. Then a few B vitamins and iron are added back to replace the multitude of nutrients lost. That's not enrichment in my book. And today, that label may even read contains bioengineered food ingredients. Food should never be bioengineered. At Bread Beckers in Woodstock, we can teach you how to make real bread loaded with fiber and nutrients. A delicious, healthy, affordable solution that can improve your health and change your life. Visit breadbeckers.com or our Bread Beckers store in Woodstock.
Do you think you need to renovate your kitchen, but you're worried about the costs? Well, Frugal Kitchens can help you get $1 million looking kitchen for a fraction of the cost and 18 months, no interest financing available. The best part, they can get you back up and cooking in 5 days from the start of construction. Life happens in your kitchen. That's where you build so many memories. If you're like Christy and me, that's why we use Frugal Kitchens, and you can too. FrugalKitchens.com is the website. Go check them out. Don't forget, 18 months, no interest financing available. FrugalKitchens.com.
Are you facing a fork in the road and deciding between continuing your career and retirement? I'm Wes Moss, host of Money Matters, and this massive life decision shouldn't be taken lightly. Talk with my team if you'd like help reviewing your retirement accounts and building a financial plan. We can help you review options and offer an opinion based on your best interests. You can find us at yourwealth.com. That's YOUR wealth.com.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Hey, Belinda here with Dr. Ashraf from Atlanta Vision Institute to talk about a new procedure, permanent contact lenses. This is a game changer, isn't it, Dr. Ashraf?
It is for some people. This is an implantable Collamer lens. It's been around for a while, but this new technology is amazing. This is really good for people who in the past weren't candidates for LASIK. And remember, LASIK's been around for over 20 years. Technology is always advancing. So this lens is a quick procedure. We do it in the office. Vision recovers very quickly. You're back to work the next day. LASIK, it causes an inducement of dry eyes. This does not.
Ooh.
And unlike your contacts, there's no maintenance on this. There is nothing. You get up and go. It is permanent now. In the future, if you do need to remove it, we can remove it.
Oh, that's tremendous. Folks, is this something you're interested in to better your vision? Go to lensatlanta.com. That's LENS Atlanta.com.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Get the podcast, live stream, email, and social media links by texting Eric to 33777 now.
Howdy. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. If you want to be a part of the program, 877-973-7425. I would be happy to have you. If you're in Georgia, you want to text the word ENGAGE to 33777. Now, I got to give a shout out to Joe Schubert, who articulated a legal response to me on the use of the auto pin and says it's not like a corporate transaction. And he's right, it's not like a corporate transaction, but my reference to Article 9 of the Uniform Commercial Code is that it incorporated the body of common law about instruments used to sign. And the measure goes to intent. And, in fact, there's a body of Supreme Court case law about presidential intentions and did the president intend, did people take actions based on the president's intent, and it would be the same thing, I think. And I'm seeing lots of commentary from conservative lawyers and even conservative analysts online today saying that, yeah, if the president said use the auto pen to sign his name because he was busy, he could use his name to sign it because the auto pen is there. And if you get a letter from Joe Biden and it's Joe Biden's signature, well, Joe Biden intended to send you that. So I'm going to side with common law and Supreme Court precedent here, because there actually is Supreme Court precedent on the use of instruments by which to sign your name and putting other than your signature. So I appreciate the effort, Joe. I do. I disagree with you, and I realize you put 5 lawyers in a room, you're going to get 5 opinions. But the prevailing consensus actually is that this is a issue to highlight just how out to lunch Joe Biden was as president. People were doing things in his name. The problem is measuring the intent, and you're not going to get Joe Biden to come into court and say it was never my intent to do X, Y, and Z. One, he's a dementia-addled old fool, but 2, the people will come in and what they'll say is, well, he did not have dementia when he did this, and I was there, and he's the one who told me to use the auto pen, and he wanted it done. He was too busy tied up with other stuff. So, no, I think you're looking for silver bullets, and this is one of my chief grievances, I think, about both sides, is that both sides try to find easy way outs. I found the silver bullet. If only we can make this one argument, it's going to undermine everything Joe Biden ever did in office. That's what we tried to do against Barack Obama and Obamacare as well, and it didn't work for us. It's not going to work for them. It just never seems to work. these silver bullets. You got to actually undo it. And that, thank God, is what Donald Trump is doing, undoing so much of what Joe Biden did, which might cause an economic hiccup, which we'll get into. It's Eric Erickson here. Every single day now, I deal with a malicious request to click a link. My daughter the other day got a text message some of you have probably gotten. Click on it and pay your toll, and it's just a scam. All these things keep happening. They're preying upon the young, senior citizens, and you and me. But there's good news. Vision Computer is here to help you. If you have their managed service, you're never alone, and in just 15 seconds, expert tech support is at your fingertips, ready to protect you from online threats, scams, and computer problems. And you don't have to take my word for it. We're a Vision Computer household, but they've got thousands of 5-star reviews beyond my household reviews, but I'd give them 5 stars too. They've got thousands and thousands of 5-star reviews because they're simply the best. Call them at 404-COMPUTE today or visit them online at visioncomputers.com, because when it comes to your security, you can't afford to wait. Vision will take care of you. Tell them I sent you. Call them at 404-COMPUTE or go to visioncomputers.com.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. A breakthrough in the case of a teenager reported missing in Gwinnett County over a year ago. 16-year-old Asada Amun has been found safe in Tennessee. Corporal Juan Matiedo with Gwinnett County Police says she's been in the custody of the Tennessee Department of Children's Services since February of 2024 under an alias.
The breakthrough came in when one of the workers, managers for the department, noticed some inconsistencies in statements she was making to other kids in the foster care and the care of the defects.
The circumstances surrounding her disappearance remain under investigation. 56 degrees in Atlanta, breezy and cool today, but back into the 70s by tomorrow. Meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. Some traffic violators in Atlanta can now have their cases resolved.
You received a ticket for something minor like following too closely, but you failed to appear in court. A warrant was then issued for failure to appear, but the municipal court's DeAndre Moore says your luck can change.
This is giving those individuals a chance to come back, take care of that, no penalties to them, the warrant will be erased, and they can drive free and clear.
Moore says many of those who skipped a court date have already received letters about the amnesty program, which runs through April 21st. Lisa Nicholas, 95.5 WSB.
Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis is ordered to pay over $50,000 in attorney fees for violating the state's Open Records Act. Her office failed to provide records that were requested by a defense attorney for a co-defendant of President Trump. Willis now reportedly has 30 days to comply with open records and to pay fees to the Merchant law firm. WSB Scam Alert. Georgia's Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger warns of a cemetery memorialization scam. Gabe Sterling in the Secretary of State's office says a grieving widow fell victim to an imposter posing as a representative of the Veterans Affairs Cemetery where her late husband was to be buried.
A scam artist contacted her saying, hey, if you don't pay us this money, we've got to either cancel the service or move it, and you have to do it.
Her initial attempt to pay on Zelle was rejected due to fraud detection. She then paid $1,200 through PayPal. Multiple law enforcement authorities are now investigating. New details today on the tornado that hit Paulding County Saturday night. The National Weather Service says the twister with top winds of 110 miles per hour was on the ground for over 11 miles and was 200 yards at its widest point. It was on the ground for 12 minutes. It is now 2:02, and this news is sponsored by Brett Becker's. Up next, live team coverage of traffic and weather.
Looking to get organized in style? The brand new Artisan Custom Closet showroom is now open near Trilla Studios in Fayetteville. Come experience the Artisan difference. Meet with a designer for your free consultation and start your custom project today. See more at artisancustomclosets.com.
You've heard that comparison is the thief of joy. Did you know that comparison is also the thief of intimacy? Men, if you want to enhance your romance, eliminate any and all comparisons for your wife. Determined to make your wife the only beautiful woman in the world in your eyes. Exclusivity enables intimacy. Give your gaze, your glances, and your A game exclusively to your wife. This is Tom Gray, and This Stuff Matters.
ThisStuffMatters.net.
Are you heading out of town? Barlow Lexus of South Atlanta offers complimentary airport parking for their service guests. Let them care for your Lexus while you travel. Call 1-800-NEW-LEXUS to schedule your service appointment and utilize their airport parking concierge service.
Attention men, are you suffering from ED or PE? Here's an important message from Choice Men's Health.
I'm Dr. Katz, and I'm the Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Are you performing the way you want to in the bedroom? If the answer is no, and you've tried Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra and were disappointed, then you need to come see us immediately. If you don't see results on the first visit, then there's no charge. Many of our patients have medical conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and prostate problems. I'm happy to say that we have 98% success rate with all our patients. Our customized solutions will allow you to perform within 10 minutes and last an hour and even longer. You can regain your love life and tackle your ED and PE problems. Guys, your partner will never complain again. Our clinic has the most affordable prices, so if you visit other clinics and you're not completely satisfied, then you need to call Choice Men's Health.
Regain your love life regardless of your age or medical history. Choice Men's Health guarantees results on your first visit or you pay nothing. Call now, 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170.
Stay comfortable at home all year long with Jape Services. Hi, this is Daniel Jape, and our team has decades of experience servicing Atlanta's heating and cooling needs, which means you can count on us. We're licensed, insured, and I personally guarantee when you call Jape Services, you'll be treated just like family. Call us 24/7 or book online at japeservices.com. That's JAPE services.com.
Jape Services.
It is 2:05 and time for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the 24-hour traffic center.
Need the attention of our Marietta commuters right now, Bill. We have 2 travel advisories in Cobb County, right in Marietta. First one, 75 northbound at Delk Road, exit 261. That crash is still in 2 to 3 left lanes. You're jammed up leaving 285, also impacting those 285 ramps. 275 north, use Highway 41, Cobb Parkway, or the express lanes. Now a travel advisory, 75 southbound at South Marietta Parkway, exit 263. That's in 2 left lanes. Again, Highway 41, Cobb Parkway, the best alternate there. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upward. Sunny skies today, breezy and rather cool, high 63, wind gusts as high as 30 miles per hour. Temperatures dropping to the mid-30s to low 40s tomorrow morning. Sunshine tomorrow afternoon, high 72. Wednesday, partly cloudy, morning low 47, afternoon highs in the mid-70s.
Right now, 56 in Midtown Atlanta. More news at 2:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
My fellow Americans, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the nation, and I love that you're here with me. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, happy to have you. If you text the word Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777, you'll get a series of links back. You'll get a link to the show notes, the live stream, the podcast, the website, all the social media links that you need. I am ubiquitous. You can keep in touch with me. Now, we need to talk about the economy. I was reading an interview, I think Chris LaCivita, who was the president's campaign manager, gave to Politico, where he says he doesn't have time for the whiners about the stock market. The stock market declining last week. Let's look at where the market is right now. Have you seen? The Dow is up 437, NASDAQ up 73, S&P up 45. The markets are encouraged by the things they are right now seeing, and I'm glad. Probably my favorite cabinet secretary for Donald Trump right now is Scott Bissett, who is a brilliant, brilliant man, as those who live in Charleston, South Carolina tend to be, and also is able to easily explain things. So if you listen to idiots like Ibram Kendi, the race hustler, he uses word salads like Kamala Harris. They use word salads. It's one of my problems with academia these days is you have to willfully write things in the most obscure ways. And the academy, the universities have decided for PhD programs and the like, that the bigger the word, the more convoluted the word, the better off you are. There's a TV show I like called Severance. It's on Apple TV. It's actually a very good show. And one of the stars, one of the characters, his name is Seth Milchick. And he uses very big words. And he gets disciplined at his office for using very big words. And his vocabulary is kind of an ongoing plot point in the show. And he tries to use very big words. A buddy of mine was working on his PhD. So he got deeply frustrated in his PhD because everyone who was on the panel that was going through his dissertation liked his dissertation, except they said that it wasn't written at an academic level. And he actually was writing a book that could not just be published as his dissertation, but also be published for people to understand. It was a difficult topic, and he worked very hard to make it easily understandable to people. And he was dinged by the professors for making it easily understandable. It's actually a sign of smarts when you can take a complicated subject and make it uneasy to understand by other people. The idiots like Ibram Kendi, they use these polysyllabic words and dance around things so that you can never really understand what they say, because what they say is so absolutely profoundly stupid, they don't want to be pinned down on it. So they obfuscate, they use obscure references, they twist their words, because that's not what I meant. Well, explain what you meant. And they can never explain what they mean except in a convoluted way, so you can still never understand what they mean. So when you try to characterize them, they say, that's not what I meant. It's frustrating. This is why I like Scott Bessent, because Scott Bessent is a very, very smart person who is deeply informed about financial markets and understands most people don't understand financial markets, and he's willing to speak plainly to people on Wall Street and on Main Street about the economy.
Top 10% of Americans are 40 or 50% of consumption, and that is an unstable equilibrium. The bottom 50% of working Americans have gotten killed. We are trying to address that. We're trying to get rates down, and could we be seeing that this economy that we inherited starting to roll a bit? Sure. And look, there's going to be a natural adjustment as we move away from public spending to private spending. The market and the economy have just become hooked. We've become addicted to this government spending, and there's going to be a detox period.
There's going to be a detox period. Everybody has some idea, even if you've never been through a detox period, of detox periods. I came home a day early from my mini vacation, and probably was a detoxing event just driving home after 3 days of golf, beers, and cigars with buddies. The economy has been addicted to government spending, and there actually is a very credible argument that a lot of what we've seen is the government dumping money into the economy. It's also provoked inflation. And Bissett saying we have to go through a detox period. Why? Because America does better when the private sector is more robust than the public sector. America does better when we have a private sector that's growing and a public sector that's shrinking. I've mentioned this before. I know I'm a broken record on this. We got so many new listeners, though. Bear with me. Every dollar that's spent buying a government bond as government grows is a dollar not spent buying stock, not spent hiring people in the private sector, not spent investing in a private business. Every dollar the government grows is a dollar taken away from the private sector. You grow the private sector, you can grow money for the government. You grow the government, you're taking money away from the private sector. So you got to grow the private sector. The private sector will then generate enough tax revenue to float the government, but the government never generates enough revenue to float the private sector, except when we make a Potemkin village of the economy. And that's what we've been doing, and we got to get out of it. Besson also said our economy and our setup as a nation was not meant to have us just eating flat screen TVs, that cheap flat screen TVs are not necessarily the sign of a healthy economy. Now, I would disagree with him to a degree, but I think where he was headed was kind of the right place.
Well, Chris, and thanks for having me here. And look, what I am not going to say that went on for a long time under the Biden administration and for a lot of the media, and I'm not going to point fingers, but they used to say it was a vibe session and the American people don't know what they talk about. And Donald Trump, his administration, myself, all believe that the American people know what they're feeling, and that we believe that our policies will change that. Clearly, they are traumatized from what's happened with this affordability crisis that was brought on by the previous administration. They want relief. We've been in for 8 weeks. We are putting the policies in place that will make the affordability crisis go down, inflation moderate, and that as we set the sails, I am confident that the American people will come our way, even if some of the media narrative doesn't.
I think he's right. Now, look, I disagree on the tariff issue. I do. I do, however, think that, and this gets to something Besson's been saying quietly within the administration, the quicker Republicans can roll out their tax plan, the more it can offset the tariffs. If you're going to raise tariffs but not cut taxes elsewhere, well, that hurts the economy. But tariffs can be offset by tax cuts elsewhere, and you've also got a couple other things working in your favor. Right now, the reduction in gas prices. The nationwide average for gas has declined 4 straight weeks. In fact, there's a new worry from CEOs in the fossil fuel industry out there right now that Trump might be too good for them. This is literally hitting the wires. It's in the show notes, so we got it right as it was hitting the wires. Remember, the barrel is always half full. That's the message on a huge electronic billboard in Midland, Texas, the capital of the U.S. shale oil revolution. The meaning is clear. Throughout booms and busts, American oilmen should always look to a brighter future. Yet that upbeat spirit is nowhere to be seen today. Overwhelmingly, the industry sees the barrel as half empty. There's a lot less optimism. Scott Sheffield, a shale pioneer, told me in Houston last week at an annual gathering of the American energy industry. The gloom seems counterintuitive. Donald Trump has brought his drill baby drill slogan back to the White House and installed an industry insider as Secretary of Energy, oil executive Chris Wright. The mood at the annual jamboree that attracts about 10,000 executives, bankers, and traders should be jubilant, except it wasn't. True, in public, everyone's happy about easing regulations and lower taxes, and not to mention the subject of climate change becoming taboo. But in private, executives are far more worried about Donald Trump's push for lower oil prices and the potential for a trade war-induced recession. For everything that affects the oil industry, production levels, costs, taxes, policy, and regulation, geopolitics, and sanction, when it comes to a barrel of oil, half full or half empty is largely determined by one factor: the price. Now, I hate to tell you guys in the energy sector, but oil at $50 a barrel is going to be good for everybody. You're still going to make money. It's no oil at $25 a barrel, but oil at $50 a barrel, down from where it is right now, you're still making a profit, but costs are way down for the American public. It improves our ability to travel. It lowers the cost of goods. It lowers energy costs. It's a good thing. The more excess oil available on world markets is a good thing for everyone, including the oil industry. And prices have started coming down. Part of the reason prices are coming down, if I'm really honest, don't shoot the messenger. Oil is based on what? A futures market. What are they projecting in the future? An economic slowdown. What happens in a slowdown? The price of oil goes down. So part of the reason oil is trending down, in all honesty, God's honest truth, again, don't shoot the messenger, part of the reason is because there is an expectation among some that the economy is going to slow down, and so people will be traveling less, spending less. That'll lower energy costs. But one of the other major reasons that oil is trending down is because the Trump administration is all about deregulation and lowering the costs for energy companies to pull oil out of the ground, and that's actually a good thing as well. It's a very good thing that they're doing. It's a very good thing that the Trump administration is doing. And while Bissett, because he's in the administration, will defend the tariffs, everyone knows, I mean, that was one of the major reasons people were trying to stop him from being Treasury Secretary is he's not a fan of tariffs. He's actually written books opposed to tariffs. But he's doing his best to defend it and privately telling people in the administration that, you know what, you can offset the negative effects by hurrying up your tax cuts. And it looks like the Republicans in Congress are rushing now to try to make the tax cuts permanent. The Senate Republicans are concocting a plan to make Trump's tax cuts permanent, something that the House plan would not allow them to do. This will all be very good for the economy. I'm impressed with Bissett. I got to tell you, a buddy of mine who manages some money for me, and he's very well known nationally in finance. I was a little bit hesitant to support Bissett, and he reached out to me and said, there is no better pick for Treasury Secretary. This guy is one of us. And I'm like, wow, that's interesting because he's gay and I'm not. But yeah, Bissett is. But he's brilliant. Free marketer. Loves the free market, believes in the free market, lives in Charleston, South Carolina, so he can't be a bad person if he lives in, I'm sorry, people in Charleston are just the nicest. And so I'm just thinking, this guy, we are in capable hands. And I got to tell you, I think one of the reasons the markets are reacting the way they're reacting this week is having Bissett come out on the weekend, reassure everyone that, yeah, we're probably going through a correction. This is one of the things I was shocked to hear on CNBC this morning, is you had all the guys on CNBC saying, you know, he's right. Better we have a correction in the market than a bubble burst. If a bubble burst, the economic fallout is going to be terrible. You have a correction. The market can make its own adjustments slowly over time, taking into account the correction, and we're not going to have a major recession. We're not going to have a depression. We're not going to have some financial crisis like we had in 2008. Bissett is the right guy for the job. Trump did a marvelous job picking this guy.
Follow Eric on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Search EW Erickson.
220 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Travel advisories continue through Marietta. Crash 2 left lanes. I-75 northbound Delk Road, exit 261. That's causing 285 northbound interloop delays from Atlanta Road. Use Highway 41, Cobb Parkway, or the express lanes with the Peach Pass. Second travel advisory, southbound crash also in 2 left lanes. 75 southbound at the South 120 loop. Highway 41, Cobb Parkway, the best alternate. Traffic brought to you by John Foy & Associates, personal injury law firm. After a car accident, don't let the insurance company treat you like a number, downplay, or deny your claim. You know who to call first. Call John Foy & Associates and get the compassion and respect you deserve. Call now. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
When the weather is at its worst,
There was a lot of trees down and quite a bit of damage.
we're at our best.
Crews are out working, trying to make the right call for the hardest hit areas.
Stay prepared for whatever Mother Nature has in store.
One of our local gas stations had the canopy uprooted and landed on top of the actual gas station itself.
With your severe weather station, 95.5 WSB.
We are here with Aaron Vincent and Matthew Decker of the Vincent Financial Group. And gentlemen, when we talk about customizing a retirement plan, where is the most important place to start?
The most important place to start is with risk, because everything's built on that. We use this analogy like your financial house. The most important aspect of your house is the foundation. It doesn't matter how well you do the rest of your house. If that part is not correct, everything else is going to suffer.
Yeah, not only is it the place to start, but people come into the office and, they'll have questions about, where do we start and how do we do this? And first we have to outline what the risks are. And so a lot of times we'll ask like, well, you've worked so hard for the last 20, 30 years, you're getting ready to retire. What are the things that you're worried about? People say healthcare, inflation, taxes, market volatility. And we're like, yep, totally. Those are all absolutely risks to your retirement. But actually, the number one risk to your retirement, unfortunately, is you. Most people don't even know how much risk they're actually taking in their portfolio. But if you don't know how much risk you're taking in your portfolio, if you're not comfortable with the level of risk that you're taking in your portfolio, if you've never had this conversation before, I'm going to invite you to have the conversation with our team. It takes 15 minutes. We can do it over the phone. We'd love to do it in person, but you start the process with a phone call. If you're married, we'll have both of you. We'll find out your risk scores, have a conversation about it, and you will have more context with what you're currently doing and maybe what you should do into the future.
So ask yourself, am I taking too much risk in my portfolio or maybe not enough? We invite you to call the Vincent Financial Group today and ask for the no-cost, no-obligation risk assessment. 770-280-1488. That's 770-280-1488. We're always online at retireatlradio.com. Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. A 401k assessment does not constitute a comprehensive retirement plan. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
At Shane Company, we'll help you create a ring as unique as your love story. We have the biggest selection of diamonds in all shapes and sizes, and center stones in an array of colors, including sapphires in blue, pink, green, lavender, and more. Just the other day, a couple picked out a blue sapphire that perfectly matched her eyes, and they left knowing her ring was truly one of a kind. That's what happens at Shane Company. Come check us out. You might just fall in love with something unexpected. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Hey y'all, Belinda Skelton for Four Seasons Home Care, and I'm not going to cry in this commercial, I hope. As many of you know, I lost both my parents recently, but I am so thankful they were able to finish their lives at home where they wanted to be. It's all because of the incredible caregivers who came to see them every day. I am so grateful to Four Seasons Home Care. This is a real family-owned company that vets and hires every single one of their caregiving specialists. They don't have contractors. They're not some national corporation. They are simply the best here in Georgia. And a lot of you have asked me about my journey and if home care is right for your aging parents. I'll tell you what I tell them. Call Four Seasons Home Care and just start the conversation. It's a 100% free call that can change everything. Google Four Seasons Home Care Atlanta. That's Four Seasons Home Care Atlanta.
O'Reilly. Stop by the new O'Reilly Auto Parts in Dallas on Ridge Road across from Publix now through March 25th for the grand opening sale. Get 2 times O Rewards points on all Armor All wipes. Plus, receive 2 times points on Valvoline Flex Fill Gear Oil, which means you can reach your next $5 reward twice as fast right now at your new O'Reilly Auto Parts.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Want to be on the show? Come on, be on the show. Call Eric now at 877-973-7425.
One of the ways that those of us on the right have been able to undermine not just the left but the media is to use their own words against them and use their own coverage against them. The media lost the information battle. And so what they've decided to do is to try to regulate people's speech. Members of the press have become the biggest advocates of censorship in America. They believe that they have the freedom of press belongs to them and to no one else. This regularly comes up with journalists, and they've seized on misinformation and disinformation. But we on the right can highlight their misinformation and disinformation and expose the frauds that they are. The New York Times has done a story about Rasha Alawiya, who is a physician specialized in kidney transplants as a professor at Brown University, claiming that Donald Trump ignored a court order and deported this professor. It's not actually true, and in fact, upon further diligence, her attorneys have withdrawn from her case. Why? Well, it is against federal law. If you are here on a green card, you cannot voice your support for terrorist organizations. You don't have a First Amendment right, if you're on a green card, to champion the causes of terrorists. What made it really, really easy in this case, contrary to a lot of the reporting in the case, is Rasha Alawiya, this physician, went to Lebanon. Why? To attend the funeral of Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah. That's right. She went to Lebanon to attend the funeral of a terrorist leader whose picture she had on her phone and who she voiced sympathies for. And she was blocked from re-entering this country. She wasn't deported. She chose to leave for the funeral. And when she arrived back at customs in the United States, they said, no, sorry, you're not allowed in the country. Sorry, you're a supporter of terrorists. It's a clear law, and it's been on the books for a very long time. And so she's not coming back into the country. Contrary to what the New York Times said, she was not deported. She left the country to attend the funeral of a terrorist and was just denied reentry into the United States. And that is perfectly legal, and that's why her lawyers have decided to withdraw from the case. I need to tell those of you who are new to the audience something. I am effusive with praise for my bank. They've been my bank for 2 years. I was an original customer of theirs, and I convinced them to advertise on my program. So I'm advertising for Old Glory Bank, but I was a customer before I advertised for them, and I'm the one who begged them to let me just tell the world about you and get paid to do it. OldGloryBank.com. You can go get an account like I have, and it's a real bank, and they're a bank by conservatives for conservatives. You go to OldGloryBank.com, and you can get car loans, home loans, HELOCs, CDs, checking accounts, savings accounts for your business as well. And because they're conservative, they're not going to debank you. Gun stores. You got a gun store. You need a bank that's not going to debank you. Well, OldGloryBank.com. OldGloryBank.com. Fill out the form online. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, terms and conditions apply. And if you want to invest in Old Glory Bank, I've done that too. You can go to own.oldglorybank.com. Own.oldglorybank.com. And you can be a Main Street investor in Old Glory Bank. Stock goes up and down. It's not FDIC insured. Talk to an advisor if you have any questions. Own.oldglorybank.com.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2:30, I'm Bill Kayaccio with our top story. An update moments ago from the White House on efforts to get a ceasefire deal between Russia and Ukraine.
We've never been closer to a peace deal than we are in this moment, and the president is determined to get one done.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says President Trump's plans to speak tomorrow with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Ukraine has agreed already to a U.S.-backed ceasefire proposal. A teenage girl reported missing in Gwinnett County over a year ago is found in Tennessee.
We do know she is safe. She has been located and is healthy.
Corporal Juan Matiedo with Gwinnett County Police says many questions remain about the disappearance of 16-year-old Asada Amun. She's been in the custody of the Tennessee Department of Children's Services since February of last year under an alias. The girl was last seen running from her home on West Hoke Court in Buford with no shoes on last February. Georgia Senator Raphael Warnock is proposing legislation to address housing affordability.
This is crushing hardworking families all across Georgia.
The four pieces of legislation each address a different aspect of the market, including giving credits to some Americans for their rent and providing grants to first-time, first-generation home buyers. According to Zillow, the median sale price of a home in Metro Atlanta is $385,000. Beware, snake season is here in Metro Atlanta. This is when snakes become more active as they emerge from hibernation and look for food, mates, and suitable habitats.
Of the 46 snake species in Georgia, only 6 are venomous. The remaining 40 are harmless.
John Jensen, senior wildlife biologist with the Georgia Department of Natural Resources, in an online video says the copperhead is by far the most widespread and common venomous snake in Georgia. It is now 2:32, and this news is sponsored by FGA Roofing.
A word of caution for motorcycle riders. Remember, 18-wheelers have bigger blind spots, and it takes them longer to stop than a smaller vehicle. Eric Von Hassler here to remind you that if an 18-wheeler forces you to lay your bike down, you need to call in Steel Horse Law. Attorney George Stein is a motorcycle rider, and he understands bikers' needs. Get more info and request a free Rider's Advantage card at steelhorselaw.com.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, with all the things we're reading, seeing, and living through these days, from rate cuts, election season, and now a new administration, now seems like a great time to make sure we have that comprehensive plan in place. You know, the one that covers all our financial bases.
There are occasions throughout the year where I feel like it's critical for people to engage their financial lives and get the information that they deserve from a financial advisory team. And this is one of those times, to be quite frank. So we ask that you call us if you have a minimum of $500,000 in your full portfolio. but we're going to do away with that minimum so that those folks can have an equal opportunity to understand what's in their portfolio as well. Now, you have to have some money, right? I can't help you to build your wealth at work, right? But I sure can help, I believe, with your 401k, IRA management. There's probably 2 or 3 things that'll surprise you that you may want to take action on. So the next 10 people that call in will work up either a portfolio x-ray, or if you feel like you need a full retirement plan, go to unleashyourmoney.com, click on Portfolio X-ray, or click on Full Retirement Plan. We think you'll be impressed enough, and we want you to become a client. There's no question about it. We believe that we are a very competent fiduciary advisory team, and we want to offer that to our listeners. Let Hoffman Financial Group actually show you how we perform, and I believe we perform at the pinnacle of this industry.
Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
At 2:34, Alex Williams in the traffic center.
Travel advisory continues through Marietta. 75 southbound crash and 2 left lanes at the South 120 loop exit 263. You're slow back to Highway 5. Use Highway 41 Cobb Parkway. Better news, the northbound crash, 75 north at Delk Road, has cleared, but that's still got 285 in northbound and westbound on the brakes trying to ramp onto 75 northbound. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Sunny skies and breezy today. High 63. Wind gusts as high as 30 miles per hour.
Right now, 57 degrees in Midtown Atlanta. More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
He's got the courage to tell you the truth, even when it isn't popular. You're listening to The Erick Erickson Show.
Hello there. Welcome. It is Erick Erickson here, and I am glad to have you with me. So let me do one more reset here. And for those of you hearing me say reset, what is a reset? Well, we picked up a lot of stations, so we have grown by more than 100% this radio audience. And today we landed a lot of big stations around the country, and they're probably wondering, I thought somebody else was going to be here. Who are you? So I am Erick Erickson, was a lawyer for 6 years in Macon, Georgia. Helped start RedState.com, became its original editor. Worked for CNN for 3 years, worked for Fox for 5 years, filled in for Rush Limbaugh for a number of years, who was a good friend who got me into radio, doing my own show. Was the evening drive time host on WSB Radio in Atlanta for a number of years until, sadly, Rush passed away. Moved noon to 3 and have been growing the show nationwide. And so today I'm on your station. I'm sorry. But I'm delighted to be here. Love having you with me. If you want to find out more about the show, it is very, very easy. Text the word Erick, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777. Text the word Erick, E-R-I-C-K, to the phone number 33777. I'll send you back a long list of links so you can sign up for the show notes. You can get the podcast, the live stream. You can find me on social media. You should all be following me on Instagram at pretty much EW Erickson anywhere online, but definitely Instagram, because I cook a lot. And I put up my pictures there. And this weekend I spent time in the mountains golfing and having a relaxing time before today. Now, I got to move on to other stuff, but a lot of you are wondering, because I'm seeing the phone calls come in, and people are like, who is this guy? Well, this guy is me. Now, I want to talk to you about catastrophizing things. This is a headline. I still, and maybe I shouldn't, I still go to the Drudge Report, and it has become just terribly broken in Trump derangement. I get oftentimes accused by the very most ardent, loyal supporters of Donald Trump for being Never Trump. I didn't support him in 2016. I've supported him in 2020 and 2024. I've given him more money than virtually anyone who ever calls me Never Trump, but there are still some people like, you hate Donald Trump. I disagree with every politician. I can't think of a politician I've ever thought 100% agreed with. And it is my show, and I feel like my job is to be honest with you and tell you. But I support so much of the policies that we're getting from Donald Trump. I mean, it was a no-brainer in 2024. Are you going to vote for a dementia patient or Donald Trump? And then when it changed to the walking word salad, are you going to vote for a hyper-progressive walking word salad or Donald Trump? Of course. Trump made more sense, even if I may disagree with him on stuff like tariffs. I'll tell you when I disagree. I'll praise him a lot. But this instinct that I see at the Drudge Report and elsewhere with people who really, really hate him is to catastrophize everything, to make everything about the Trump administration the worst thing ever. And so one of the top headlines at the Drudge Report, Gay Society in Greatest Danger Under Trump. This is Russell T. Davis. Gay society in greatest danger I've ever seen after Trump win. The Doctor Who writer says he feels a wave of anger headed towards us and hostility in the UK as well as the US. Now, this is from The Guardian. More accurately, the London Guardian. And he's so concerned, as a gay man, I feel a wave of anger and violence and resentment is headed towards us on a vast scale. I've literally seen a difference in the way I'm spoken to as a gay man since that November election, and that's a few months of weaponizing hate speech, and the hate speech creeps into the real world. I'm not being alarmist. I'm 61 years old. I know gay society very, very well, and I think we're in the greatest danger I've ever seen. Okay. So Scott Bissett, the Treasury Secretary, who I just did an entire monologue praising, is gay, has kids. Gay, married to a dude, has kids. Richard Grenell, who is one of Donald Trump's most trusted loyalists and lieutenants, is gay. Donald Trump, not exactly hostile to the gays. Caitlyn Jenner, formerly Bruce, campaigned for Donald Trump, and Donald Trump welcomed the support. The problem here is this. I will be diplomatic and delicate here. But over the last number of years, you know, and I know, whether you want to admit it or not, the gay rights movement, the alphabet gang, we should call it, because it's more than that. It's the trans movement. I mean, you used to have just L, G, and B, and then they added T, and then they added Q, and the I, and the A, and the plus, because they just keep adding letters. They've added so many colors to the pride flag now. It looks like Rainbow Bright threw up everywhere. And they've been so dominant, they've been censorious. So the trans movement, they've come after and silenced people and tried to cost people their jobs for not being willing to go along with the trans movement. And I'm sorry. For years and years and years and years and years, we were told that you're born that way. You're gay or straight, or you're born that way. And now along comes the trans movement that says we're part of the alphabet gang, and we're not born that way. We have to be chemically and surgically altered to be the way we're supposed to be, and it's profoundly different from what we were told. And now they say, well, we were born that way, but to get to that way, we now need you taxpayers to give us your money so that we can surgically alter ourselves. It makes no sense. At war with the English language, the pronoun game. The rule of thumb, by the way, is to never take seriously a single person who puts their pronouns in their Twitter bio or their signature line. If you see someone with a signature line at corporate America and it ends with she, her, he, him, they, their, or they, them, whatever, that is an idiot. And you need to understand that is a herd-following, unthoughtful idiot who latches on to the latest trendy thing. If bell bottoms come back tomorrow, you can be darn well that person is going to be the person in the office wearing bell bottoms. Because it's the latest trendy thing. I support the current thing. Anyone who has their signature line or their pronouns in their signature line or in their Twitter bio should be handed a sign to plant in their yard that says, I support the current thing. And then in little parentheses, whatever that thing may be. Because that's that person. And they've been bullying people. They don't recognize that they are bullies. Bullies hardly ever recognize that they're bullies. And now people feel more comfortable pushing back. In fact, Donald Trump winning the popular vote was a signal to people that, oh, the hand was overplayed. Oh, maybe this wasn't as embraced as it was. Y'all, I am a evangelical Christian. I believe in the literal nature of Genesis 1 and 2 and 3. And I believe that God created heaven and earth, and God created man and made mankind male and female, and said men and women should get married, and marriage should be between a man and a woman. I believe that marriage should be between a man and a woman. I work with people who are gay, who are friends of mine, who disagree with me, who are married. And they know that's my religious belief. And I know they disagree, and we hang out and have fun. Because the God who told me that he made mankind male and female also told me I got to love my neighbor. In my view, if in the interpretation of loving my neighbor, someone that I've gone to seminary, I've read the Greek, I've looked up to see if there are caveats, exceptions, carve-outs, provisions that give me exemptions, and they're not. It says love my neighbor. And that means I should love my transgender Muslim neighbor who votes Democrat and is a communist so much that when they go on vacation, they'll leave a key with me just in case they need somebody to go check on their house, because they know, despite my fundamental disagreements with them, that I'll do it. Now, not everybody's like me. I get that. But I also know that if you are a 61-year-old gay man in London commenting on the state of gay rights in the United States of America, you're a stupid person. You don't live it. You're not living here. You don't understand. And when you can't even recognize that the President of the United States has made a gay man the Secretary of the Treasury, you are full of, well, I don't know what, but something. Poop, I guess. The catastrophizing of everything is the most annoying part of all this. And by the way, both sides are guilty of it. When Biden was president, it was also everything was the worst thing ever, and the world was coming to an end. But Democrats really have taken the psychotic break from reality way further than Republicans ever would. Everything is the worst. We're all going to die. Hispanic immigrants are going to die. Blacks are going to die. The gays are going to die. The trans are going to die. The illegal immigrants are going to die. Women are going to die. It's like, remember when in the first Trump term they got rid of net neutrality? Like, oh, everybody's going to die. They're all going to die because net neutrality is going away. And then they cut taxes. Everybody's going to die. They're all going to die. They reformed Obamacare. Everybody's going to die. We're all dead. How do we know that Trump won the popular vote when the popular vote died? We all got killed. We got killed by net neutrality and tax cuts a decade ago. But the catastrophizing is also not mentally healthy. These people are obsessed with catastrophizing. That it's all got to be bad. They can't bring themselves to say anything good. You know, I would get hate mail from the right when I would point out Joe Biden did something right. Oh, stop praising him. Don't you praise him. Why not? Why not? If he does something right, you should praise him. It makes you an intellectually honest person. So if I disagree with Donald Trump, I'm willing to say so. Intellectual consistency. It builds trust with people who might disagree with you. You say, well, at least he's consistent. Maybe I'll listen and learn something. But the left isn't capable. Because unless they're in charge, everything's destructive. And that's the point. It's all about power for them. It's all about power. In a postmodern age, it doesn't matter what the truth is. What matters is power. And these people want power. And when they don't have power, everything is the worst thing ever. We're all going to die. Greta Thunberg is going to scowl some more. The world is coming to an end. And here's the problem in the modern age, is it turns them violent. If you believe gay society is in the greatest danger you've ever seen because Donald Trump won, what are you going to do to protect gay society? Write a Doctor Who story? My producer says this guy single-handedly revived Doctor Who and then killed it. I don't watch Doctor Who. I know what it is. When I was a kid, it confused me. I stopped watching, haven't gone back to it. But he can't help himself. He's got to catastrophize. The left has to catastrophize because they're not in power. And if they're not in power, it means doom and gloom because the left has done something the right has not yet done and is on the verge of doing but hasn't done. And that is they have this idea that only they can make things right. Only they can protect. There are more and more people on the right who are like, everybody on the left is my enemy. They're going to run us off the cliff. But even like a moderate Democrat, most people on the right would say, I disagree with this guy, but he's not my enemy. It's the far left progressives who are on the right that say, no, this person hates the country and hates me. Generally right. But on the left, look at the left right now. They're out to get Chuck Schumer, the liberal Democratic leader of the Senate, because he allowed the government to stay open instead of shutting it down. They've catastrophized it. Keeping the government open, bad, because it empowers Elon Musk. But, of course, closing the government down, empowered Russ vote, bad. There's no way for the Democrats not to view this stuff as bad. And that, by the way, it's not mentally healthy. It is not healthy for these people. They are going to turn brittle and violent because none of this sort of catastrophizing is healthy. And yet they can't get them out of the, you watch these shows about, sports therapists, others, and they talk about your negative internal monologue. You got to improve it. The internal monologue of the left right now is sociopathic. They really do believe the world has come to an end. And you know what? People on the left, if you believe that, you just need to understand, hold yourselves accountable for it. You covered for a dementia patient, lied through your teeth about the economy, and the American people got mad at you. And instead of actually holding yourselves accountable for what you yourselves did, you've decided to go on and blame Donald Trump and the right when Donald Trump wouldn't be in power, probably, given the way Americans view him, if you people hadn't lied, wrecked the economy, and replaced a dementia patient with the walking word salad that nobody likes. That's on you, not Donald Trump or me. Now, one of the things Donald Trump is doing is trying to cut taxes. Americans for Prosperity is trying to help him. They're the largest leading grassroots organization in the country. They would love to have your help. All you have to do is go to protectprosperity.com. That website, you can sign up for it, and you can be informed on the state of play in Washington, D.C. You can be informed how you play a role in shaping the conversation in Washington, D.C., and you can get all the facts and figures to both stay informed and keep all your neighbors informed about what's going on. There are multiple plans circulating. You can find all the information there. And then the coolest part, you go to protectprosperity.com, you click the action button, and you'll be able to reach out to your members of Congress and senators and say, hey, I want you to support common sense conservative solutions. I want you to support the tax plan. All you have to do is go to protectprosperity.com. Sign up now. Americans for Prosperity has chapters in almost every single state of the union. They'd love to get you involved at the local level. You want to be involved on advancing common sense conservative solutions? Let's start with the tax fight. Go to protectprosperity.com, brought to you by Americans for Prosperity.
You're at the intersection of politics, news, culture, and current events. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
251 Coolray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Better news in Marietta. The crash is cleared 75 southbound at the South 120 loop exit 263. Those delays back to 575 will start to improve. New travel advisory in Clayton County. Police activity in 2 left lanes. 75 southbound past Terra Boulevard, exit 235. Slow in the ride between Forest Park and Morrow. Use Highway 1941 or I-675 south to avoid those delays. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
He's the guy at the desk next to you.
I've got a sense of humor.
He's your co-pilot for the ride home.
The driver of this vehicle is a better human being than you are.
He's Eric Von Hessler.
I'm here to tell you the truth.
Eric Von Hessler.
Today at 3.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
A popular retirement myth is that once you retire, taxes go away. Not so much. We're here with Aaron Vincent of the Vincent Financial Group, and let's talk about the importance of having a tax strategy, not just now, but into and through retirement.
Taxes will be your biggest expense in retirement. I love analogies. So whenever I was a kid, I got in trouble sometimes. When I reached a certain age, my parents gave me the option. They said, hey, you can either choose to get the spanking or you can choose to be grounded for the next week. The choice was mine. Do I want spanking? Like you're going to choose the pain of right now? Ugh. Or you're going to choose the purgatory of pain of just the over and over again. Every day you wake up, your friends are playing outside, and you get to sit in your room and look out the window and watch them play because you chose the grounding because you didn't want the upfront pain. I mean, that's a tough choice to make. That's basically, in a nutshell, Mark, when you say, well, what can you do? What are some tax strategies? I'm here to tell you right now, we don't have a magic wand, and we can't just say, hey, come work with us, and no longer do you pay taxes anymore. That's just not real. There are definitely strategies that will help mitigate the amount of taxes that you'll pay. We can calculate how much you'll pay over your retirement, and we can determine what that tax bill will be. That's the grounding. That's the default path. That's the one that if you don't have a plan for your money, you fall into the government's plan for your money, and that is that you choose the grounding. Who wants to feel pain now? Who's going to choose pain? I'll raise my hand and say, yeah, I want the spanking. If you don't even know it's an option, you're definitely not choosing it. Well, so the point is, there are strategies. There are things that you can do to mitigate those taxes that you're going to pay over a 30 or 40-year period of time, but you got to choose the spanking.
The choice is yours. Pay a little more now or a lot later. Call the team at the Vincent Financial Group and take advantage of their no-cost, no-obligation tax map. 770-280-1488. That's 770-280-1488 or online at retireatlradio.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. A 401k assessment does not constitute a comprehensive retirement plan. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Paid for by Astellas Pharma. WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
He may not tell you what you want to hear, but he tells you what you need to hear. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
I had to pay my corporate taxes. This reminds me, I got to get my personal income taxes taken care of for the next month. I hate taxes. You know, the president has said now he wants no one under $150,000 to be able to pay taxes. And I got to say, I disagree. I understand the sentiment, and it's great politics, I think, particularly for the not just the working class, but the middle class. But I really disagree. Philosophically, I think not even the fair tax, but a flat tax. That 10%, if 10% is good enough for God, I mean, hell, give the government 15%, but everybody pay it. Doesn't matter how poor you are. If you're working, pay 15%. If you're a bajillionaire, pay 15%. But 15% of $50,000 is way less than 15% of $50 billion. But we all pay the same rate because we're all Americans. We're all equal under the law, so we should all pay the same rate. And the government should make do with the flat tax. And a flat tax would be phenomenally easy. George W. Bush, was one of his other brilliant ideas that everybody ignored, was the flat tax. File your tax on a postcard, unless you're taking you're taking all sorts of deductions to lower your taxes. But 15%, 10%, whatever. But I think everybody should pay it. We should not get into a bidding war over who's not going to pay taxes. I don't think that's good for the government, for the economy, for the national debt. But a 15% tax, make it apply to corporations, make it apply to individuals, do a 15% tax, and I think it would be economically stimulative. America would be an easy place. You know how much money is spent every year by individuals and corporations to just try to go through the tax code and minimize tax liability? You have the right to do it. I do it. I had to hire an accounting team as my corporation grew. I've got an LLC. We pay a corporate tax, though, and given our structure. And the amount of time and effort I spend with accountants to try to rearrange my taxes to avoid unnecessary tax liability. We can make it really simple. Here's my rule of thumb. When a government law creates an entirely new class of work, It's probably a bad law. The amount of regulators, the amount of liability auditors companies have, the amount of accountants they need, the amount of tax preparers we need. We shouldn't need it. I would love the day where we could tell all of our tax preparers, this is, God bless you, it's time to go find a new job. The tax code's so easy now. Everybody can put it on a postcard and mail it in. I just personally think that we should go with a flat tax that 100% of anyone who makes money pays. And if you make $50, 15% of that goes to the government. You make $50 billion, 15% of that goes to the government. And we're all equal under the law. We're all American citizens, and we all contribute based on what we make, but an equal percentage for all of us. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a great rest of the day.
WSB consumer expert Clark Howard.
I am the man from Costco. I love Costco Wholesale. But I want to tell you, according to the American Customer Satisfaction Index, Costco has been dethroned. That now Sam's Club rates higher for customer satisfaction than not just Costco, but virtually any retailer in any category. Sam's had been a laggard for a long time, had not been well run. And I've noticed, because I'm also a Sam's Club member, that there has been enormous improvement at Sam's Club. And now, according to my fellow Americans, Sam's Club